सब हो गए सॉरी All right. Excuse me.
क्यों इतना लगे पत्ते हम सुबह को ना
Jurispita, are you speaking? You are on mute.
Yes, sorry. So I was just saying,
मुस्काए हैं तू देख ले आंगन में मंदिर के तेरे बेटे सारे आए हैं। शुभ शंख गूंजे जाए हैं घनी रात का कर अंत तू अब दे प्रकाश तुरंत तू तेरे पथ के राही आए हैं शुभ शंख गूंजे जाए हैं शुभ शंख
A very good morning, everyone. Before we begin, I would request all of you to kindly mute yourself so that we can have an easy progression of this particular session today. So good morning, one and all. Let me begin with an excerpt from this award-winning poem, Still I Rise, by the legendary poet Maya Angelou. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I will rise. A very good morning once again. On behalf of Piramal Swast, I, Manisha Datta, welcome you to this gathering that marks the eve of International Women's Day, observed every year across the globe on the 8th of March. Gloria Steinem, a path-breaking feminist, once shared, the story of women's struggle for equality belongs to no single feminist, nor to any one organization, but to the collective efforts of all who care about human rights. Keeping the spirit of collective solidarity, we are grateful to have with us today women leaders, activists, change makers across government and development organizations participating in this event. To each one of you, more power and solidarity and Zindabad. The International Women's Day is a global day celebrating the social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women. The day also marks a call to action for accelerating gender equality. Spurred by the universal suffrage movement back in early 20th century for equal voting rights, the women's movement went on to stir demands of equality across spaces
Hello, ma'am.
of the personal, family, workplace, and across public domain. These included agency of decision-making, equality of pay, access to education, healthcare, and other services, end to gender-based harassment and violence, reproductive rights, dismantling discriminating patriarchal norms in the society, etc. The struggle has been a long haul and not an easy one at all. India saw a powerful women's movement take shape in the 70s and 80s, and there has been a lot of progress and persistent efforts towards reclaiming identities, rights of women from years of subjugation from patriarchy. The day is a reminder that across spaces, women are disproportionately impacted, and therefore our actions need to weave in gender parity to achieve the change we are aiming for in its true spirit. Today and the day tomorrow is a reminder for all of us, women as well as men, to firmly advocate for gender equality and support women of caste, class, color, race, education in this collective effort. The day is to celebrate the history of women pathbreakers who made possible the avenues that we actively participate today. The day is to celebrate the present inspiring women who are breaking biases and ushering waves of change that was never imagined before. At Piramal Swast, we are committed to making healthcare not only affordable, accessible, and available to all, but also to ensure that it is complete, continuous, and comprehensive through innovations at scale, preventing preventable deaths, building sustainable frameworks in the healthcare space and in the ecosystem. Within this approach, we see women not just as recipients, but also active agents and forces leading actions at different levels of the spectrum, as well as in the organization. With this, I welcome you all once again, and in particular, our august speakers of today's session. Ms. Pomi Borwa ma'am, Officer on Special Duty NHM Government of Assam, renowned women's rights activist Ms. Jajum Ete and Ms. Neha Jawale, Ms. Janae Goswami, President Assam Network of Positive People. I also welcome our female and male counterparts representing development partners and NHM districts and blocks. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining this session. To all of you, a happy International Women's Day. And I now welcome my colleague, Jurismita, to introduce our speakers for today's session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Manisha, for giving us such a wonderful introduction to the event. At the very onset, I would like to wish all of you a very happy, on the eve of International Women's Day, we'd like to wish you all a very happy International Women's Day. I'm so happy to see all the faces, happy faces. Here, moving ahead, I would just like to have a request. मैं सबको request करना चाहूंगी कि सभी अपना माइक जो है म्यूट पर रखिए. किसी को भी कुछ भी बोलना होगा तो आप लोग हाथ हैंड रेज करके रखिए, नहीं तो आप ना चैट बॉक्स है, चैट बॉक्स में आप मैसेज ड्रॉप कर दीजिए. we promise to answer all your queries, okay? But हमारे स्पीकर्स के बीच में अगर हम लोग थोड़ा बोल दे तो थोड़ा डिस्टर्बेंस हो जाता है, तो इसीलिए we will not unmute ourselves for the entire session. We will give a opportunity for question and answer round के लिए opportunity रखेंगे हम लोग हर एक स्पीकर के speech के बाद. So yes, before me introducing to all our honorable speakers for today's webinar, I would like to request, we have with us today the Vice President of and Head of Aspirational District Collaborative Program, Mr. Hardeep Singh Bamra. I would like to request sir to kindly address our today's event and to address our speakers and the participants. So please, if you can say a few words on it.
Thank you, Jurusmita. Thanks, Manisha. A very, very warm welcome and good morning to everybody. My heartiest best wishes on the eve of International Women's Day. I'm especially honored because of the fact that we have such an eminent panel of guest speakers here today. So I would want to extend my warm welcome to all of you. A very good morning to you, Pomi ma'am, and welcome to the talk show today. Very welcome to Jarjum ji. Thanks so much for coming over today. Very, very warm welcome, Sneha ji and Jahanavi ji. I think we have a host of very, very eminent personalities on the call today, and I'm sure there are so many others on the call whom I have not mentioned. So a very, very warm welcome to all of you. I think on the subject of gender bias, we have great experts who are going to speak today. But I think gender bias is not a subject that you need to be an expert to really speak about. It's visible everywhere. And I think it starts from the home and extends up to the workplace. And as far as my personal experiences are concerned, working in the public healthcare space and in the social sector, it's visible everywhere. And I think Manisha spoke about not having parity, for example, in the pay system. The good part, I would say, is that the health system, if we look at the public health system, it actually stands on the pillars of three very powerful women at the community level. The Ashas, the ANM, supported by the Anganwadi workers from the Women and Child Department also. And that's the power of women, if you really see. But if you really go deep into it, we also realize that the parity in pay, the parity in growth, you will always see a lot of bias in terms of gender happening there. But I think the solutions are coming in place today. The world is changing. And that's the reason why we have, for example, the four great leaders who are going to speak to us today. So I'm very, very happy to be here. I would like to listen to all of them, and I would listen to all the audiences also, their queries and the answers which come in. And I want to wish everybody all the very best. And we hope going forward, very soon, we will have a more equal world, which will be driven by leaders who, display compassionate leadership. And I think that is what women bring to the table, which the world actually needs today. Compassionate leadership. And so with that, I would like to conclude here. Jurusmita, thank you so much and all the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aditya. Yeah, moving ahead, before listening to our first speaker, I would also now like to request Priyakshi ma'am, who is a zonal program lead or who is leading the Aspirational District Collaborative Program of Northeast. I would request her to kindly say a few words and welcome our panelists and as well as our participants. participants. Ma'am. Prakshi ma'am, we are not audible. Like you are not audible. Kindly, like if you can come in and address participants and the panelists.
I think Priyakshi is having a network issue because her video is also frozen.
Okay, no issue. So let's go ahead then. Okay, so for me, like introducing the most honorable, what to say, leaders of today's event webinar. Firstly, like our first speaker, like starting with one of the trailblazing civil servant of Assam, Mrs. Pomi Borwa ma'am, who needs no extra introduction. I think everybody would like agree with me. From holding the front lines as a COVID crisis upholded in the country, her swift decision-making and empathetic approaches made her one of the most popular and reliable person during the pandemic. Apart from being an inspiration to many young women who intend to join public administration, ma'am is also a terrific photographer.
Yeah.
And
Smita, am I audible?
yes,
Sorry. So I'm very sorry due to some technical issue, due to some internet problem, I couldn't continue. So let me continue again. So I'm thankful to the participants as well as speakers. And I'm saying that although we observed the Women's Day on 8th, but due to some technical issue, we are celebrating this day a day before. Okay, so this morning actually I was thinking about the International Day, and I recall the powerful journey of most eminent, I will say, a powerful Bengali writer of India about the baby Haldar. I believe that we all know about baby Haldar, but then also on this occasion, I want to take the privilege of this platform to recall her story once again, because her story inspired me a lot, and means so many times I took strength from her story. So let me start with the story. Baby Haldar was born in 1973 in Kashmir, and up to her age 4, it was all okay, but her parents had a very unhealthy relationship, and due to that relationship, her mother left her at the age of 4. So after when she was 4 years old, she was raised by her abused father and the stepmother, and later on they have shifted to Durgapur in West Bengal. During childhood, baby Haldar likes to attend the school, and she was very serious about her study. But unfortunately, what happened? She was forcefully married to a man at the age of 12, to a man who was 14 years older than her. So she could able to attend the school up to 6th standard only. Then after marriage, at the age of 13, she had her first child, and subsequently in a very short interval, she had another 2 child, and she became the mother of 3 children. Her married life was full of domestic violence, and due to this domestic violence only, and to support her children, she started working as a domestic servant in the neighborhood, and she ran the house like that. But after 25 years of domestic violence, she realized that she cannot continue like this, and then she left her husband and she came to Delhi. And in Delhi also, she started working as a domestic servant to support the family. And at last, she met her last employer and her mentor, Pramod Kumar, who was a grandson of the great Hindi literature giant Munshi Premchand. And Pramod Kumar himself also as is a writer and retired professor of anthropology. Pramod Kumar was the person who first identified the inner solidity of baby Haldar, and he encouraged her to read the books he had in his bookshelves. So, as per her master's advice, she started reading the books he owned, and the flame of a candle, like so many candles, the encouraged or courageful story of a female can drive a life of a female. So what happened, among these books, she read the autobiography of Taslima Narsing, that is Amar Mayevela, and this book has inspired Baby Haldar to write her own story. So she started writing her own story in Bengali, and in this case, her master Pramod Kumar had helped her a lot, and when the script finished, then he helped her translating it into Hindi, and her first book was published in Hindi. That book was a bestseller for the year in 2006 maybe, and after that the book was released in 21 different languages, and out of that 13 are foreign languages. So like that she has become an acclaimed female writer of India. And if you read the book, you will feel that it is a written document of insufficient child care, child marriage, teenage pregnancy, gender biasness, and domestic violence. But at the same time, the document proves that a female can overcome all the social circumstances, social issues, and she can establish herself as a strong woman in the society. After reading this book, I feel Baby Haldar as a powerhouse. For me, she is like a powerhouse. That is because when we see a powerhouse, it is simple. It is look like a simple box only, but it has the ability to generate immense energy, and at the same time, it has the ability to control the transmission or the level of energy it transmits through to light a bulb or to run a machine. So, like Baby Haldar, we have so many examples in the society where people, women are establishing themselves, breaking different social barriers, and I feel the female makes the house home, and they deserve love, affection, and respect from the society. And I think the society should not consider the obliged attitude of a female as her weakness, because if we think about the social sustainability, then the role of woman is very important, and she has to get all the things she deserves. Lastly, I would like to say that we cannot force others to respect us, but we can refuse to be disrespected. Thank you. Joysmita, over to you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, and really very inspiring words that you have delivered today. I think like everybody present here is highly motivated after listening to the story of Lady Haldar and as well as the thoughts of yours on this event of International Women's Day. Thank you very much. Now, again, I think by now everybody has got to know that who is our first speaker is none other than our most loving and most inspiring personality, Pami Borwa ma'am. So for all the others, like I would like to tell that currently Pami ma'am is serving as a Deputy Secretary to the Government of Assam, Health and Family Welfare Department, an officer on special duty, which is shortly said as OSD, National Health Mission. Ma'am, like without wasting much of time, I think everybody is eagerly waiting to hear from you. So firstly, would like to hear from you, ma'am, and then we'll go ahead with the next speakers. Thank you very much. Pami ma'am, it's over to you.
Thank you very much, Jurishmita. The welcome was really very warm, And it's so good to see all of you, because I consider Piramal Swastha as my family. So seeing Hardeep, you, and Priyakshi, Manisha, everyone, it's really made me feel very good. In fact, I was initially very apprehensive whether I could be able to join this meeting, because as you can see, this is a hotel setting. I'm with my kids. They'll keep coming to and fro, though I've told them not to disturb me, but that's what motherhood is all about. And the thing is, so yeah, a very good morning to all of you present here today, to Jahnavi Goswami Baido, to Jarjum Ate ma'am, and of course Neha Javale ma'am, and to the entire team of Piramal. And all these inspiring ladies are here today to inspire us, and it's very befitting that we are celebrating International Women's Day with the Piramal family in this way. I can also see a lot of representatives from the districts. So it's really good. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and I'll try to speak both in English and Assamese, if that is okay with all of you, because I can see a lot of people from the districts here also. Priyakshi had come to me with Jurishmita and asked me to speak on gender equality today for a sustainable tomorrow. This is the theme that has been, given by United Nations for Women's Day, International Women's Day. This is how we are going to celebrate it this year. So I'm going to touch upon the theme. And also speak in general about gender inequality, issues relating to gender empowerment, and of course, from my personal position also, what I have gone through, what many others have gone through, so that we can learn a lot. I'm here to learn from you, and we can all have a good session together. So, yeah. So, gender equality. When we talk about bringing on creating a conducive atmosphere for gender equality, it just does not mean clearing the differences gender inequality brings to us. However, it's more of a proactive approach where everyone should come together and promote equality of all genders and fight against discrimination, from primary education to equal income to equal opportunities for all, and so many other things. It's a very, very wide issue, and it needs and calls for proactive and progressive decisions, policy changes, and actions in all front. So we all know that International Women's Day is being celebrated every year on the 8th of March. And this celebration has been continued globally since a very, very long time. And on International Women's Day, we actually, like Jurishmita, Priyakshi, and even Manisha had highlighted, we actually highlight the achievements of women in the cultural, political, and socio-economic context, the struggles that women have faced, and the way they have emerged victorious. So I was listening to what Manisha had to say, Jurishmita had to say, Priyakshi had to say, and of course our dear Hardeep had to say. And it was really nice, to hear that all of us echo the same voice, that the need of the hour is to bring in gender equality. Although many women have broken the glass ceilings and come forward, like so many women are out there, today in this VC. Many women have joined from the districts. So it's really inspiring to see all of you being here, because it's quite a struggle for a woman to come forward and work and juggle family life and home and everything. Ask me and I'll tell you. This is how it is. So for a lot of us, we think that, we are very empowered sitting in the confines of AC offices and with our laptops in front, being able to connect to everyone, able to talk in our own positions. But I'll tell you, the absolute empowerment or total empowerment is still a long way off. I still consider myself to be very less empowered, and I really pray and hope that very soon all the inequalities, like Hardeep said, the inequalities across should be discovered, and we should work towards it. So well, now coming to the theme. breaking the bias, gender equality today for a sustainable tomorrow. Well, every year a theme is given to us for celebration of International Women's Day. And the theme is actually a reflection of the pressing issues that needs attention in the society, in the world as a whole. And this year we are talking about sustainable development. Some of you might wonder, because as it is yesterday when I was discussing this theme, one of my younger colleagues was asking, there are more pressing issues, ma'am, so why only sustainable development? Well, I'll tell you why. Because this theme tries to recognize the contribution of women and girls all across the world who are leading the charge on climate change, mitigation of climate change, and for building a sustainable future for all in the coming days. And this theme again seeks to highlight women and girls as effective and powerful leaders and also change makers for climate adaptation and mitigation. Well, the climate crisis is actually a real issue. We all know that, because of the harmful effects of climate change, so many issues are happening across the world. And these issues, this crisis is actually impacting, having an adverse effect on women as a whole. If somebody asks you, implications of climate change on what are the implications of climate change on women's issues or gender issues, I'll tell you. Violence against women, maternal deaths, child marriages, poverty, infections, hungers, malnutrition, illegal land grabbing, many other issues. Because women are equal players, like we say, in the economic field. Have you realized that, like when I was in Environment and Forest Department and I was working closely with a lot of women NGOs, and then there we found that a whopping number of women, who stay in the peripheral areas of forest, they actually go out collecting food, collecting fodder, collecting firewood, and so many other things. We are all connected to nature, and women in these areas have a very, very bigger role. In fact, I will be quoting much from a study that was done by the Ministry of Women and Child Development in the year 2015, and they came up with some very interesting statistics. I have it somewhere here. Yeah, they had the ministry statistics said that a whopping 85% of homes use firewood, crop residue, and dung for cooking, and women are the ones who are more exposed to polluted environments. They are exposed to environmental toxins, and we all know that women and girls in India are also more vulnerable than men during natural disasters. So we can understand how, climate change is affecting women first and also affecting women worst because of the greater vulnerability of women in our societal setup. And moreover, it is true that women have lesser wherewithal than men to deal with climate impacts, and also their adaptive interventions often put more burden on a woman than on a man. So these are the general issues. And of course, when we are talking about women and sustainable development and climate change and all this, we must understand that in India, we've had many women who have had a very crucial role they've played in they've played an important role in several movements that have been linked to conservation, preservation of the environment. So women have historically taken part in India. All of you must have heard of that famous Chipko movement. And the Chipko movement, there was Gauri Devi, who led a large number of women who were supporting their male counterparts, hugging trees, and putting pressure on government and the others for not cutting down the trees. So these women have inspired many others through generations, through everywhere. Then again, there was the Apiko movement in Western Ghats, Then we all have heard of the Narmada Bachao Andolan, the Silent Valley movement, and even we've heard of so many village women, Adivasi women, who've come to the forefront when it comes to protecting the environment and conserving nature, for the conservation of nature. So that has been basically the theme, and I feel that it's a very relevant theme because climate change is real, and we need to take steps for mitigating it. And we as women, should contribute our might in whatever way for this. And moreover, we should also support everyone who is doing their own little thing to preserve and conserve our environment, and who is trying to draw attention to the pressing problems of environmental degradation and depredation. Well, now coming to the general women's issues, I would not be reading out from a speech or something like that. I would rather like to speak from personal experiences. I would love it if we can have a more interactive session. And it is good to see that the male participation here is also very good, because we should, when we are talking about gender inequality, when we are talking about creating a conducive atmosphere for fostering gender equality, then we should understand that we need all genders to participate together, to come forward together and build that atmosphere where we can all flourish, flower, progress together. So progress together. Well, yesterday on Twitter Space, I was in touch with an organization, and they had asked me to join the Twitter Space for a chat with them. So I had got very interesting questions from some of the viewers participants who had joined the Twitter chat. So one of the important question was, for a woman, generally, let's talk about a woman who comes out to work. Of course, homemakers are doing their own, they are doing a lot of work. Their contribution cannot be belittled, cannot be belied. We understand that. But again, there are a lot of women who are self-employed, who come out to work, who are partners with their husband, and who are bread earners, who are single moms, who are taking care of their families and actually doing some very excellent work, juggling career and family. So a very interesting question was put forth to me that, ma'am, during the COVID period, we all know how stressful it was and all that. So what do you think should be the contribution of the family? So, can see so many of you are coming out to work, leaving your families behind. Sometimes all of you have to travel a lot. You all have to work really hard. And we see this outside external thing, that there is this very smart lady who is doing excellent work outside. But then when you peep inside, when you take a look inside, deep into her personal life, or find out, then what do you see? Do you see that there is a lot of juggling that a lot of I think someone wants to say something. Yeah.
Others, please mute yourself kindly.
আপোনালোকে অলপমান নিজকে মিউট কৰি থব, মোৰ কথাখিনি কোৱা হলে তাৰ পিছত আমি হেয়া কৰিব পাৰিম. I think it's someone from the district. Yes. So what should a family do? She had asked me the question for a woman who comes out to work. All I had to tell her then was, a family, when a woman comes out to work, should give her the respect, should give her the space to work. And, like Priyakshi has already said, that respect has to be earned. If you don't get the respect, then you should demand that you are not disrespected. Well, that is an important issue, because when a woman comes out to work, there'll be a lot of issues at home. Many of us may not be facing it, but I am telling you, many women face it. However, in whatever positions they may be, however empowered they may be, we all have our issues. So for a woman, when she comes out to work, she may be anybody. She may be, like Hardeep has so beautifully said, the entire healthcare care system is based on our ASHAs, ANMs, Anganwadi workers. So starting from our grassroots workers, that is the ASHA, that's the ANM, that is the Anganwadi workers, to everyone to the top of the rung, we see that these women have come out breaking the barriers, they've come out to work, but don't undermine them, because these ladies have faced a lot of hassles. While I was in one of my tours to Karbi Anglong area, I had met one Asha Baidu who was walking down the hill. So it was quite a difficult journey. I stopped our car and I asked her if I could give her a lift to the next village to which she was going. Then do you know what she told me? She said that, no, Baidu, it's fine. I will manage. This is what if I do every day. So we got chatting. So I asked her, how far do you stay? So she said, yes, she stays a little far away. And by the time she goes back to her home, it becomes quite, dark. So I asked her, do you have any problems at home? This, that. Then, she started confiding, and she said, like many others, there were initial hiccups that she faced when family members started saying, why should you go out? Or why do you come back so late? You have your kids at home, you have to take care of them. So these are, very, very basic things. With whom are you outside? Are you safe? So these are the very basic questions and issues that from the level of our frontline workers to whatever position you are, you will face in different degrees, maybe, but yes, all of us face it. So when we are talking about women empowerment, we must speak of it holistically, not only from the perspective of us sitting in our cozy rooms, but also take into account the struggles that are being put in by women across all spectrum of society. And I feel we should pull each other up rather than pulling each other down, ensuring that we create a sisterhood, a brotherhood, a network of brotherhood and sisterhood, wherein we can lift everyone up and move forward. Gender inequality, gender discrimination will not go away on its own. We have to fight for it. We have to move towards it. We have to contribute towards it. And for that, I feel we should be united. Our approach should be together. So long back once, when I was talking to a very eminent feminist writer, so I had asked her, I was a novice then, just learning about International Women's Day, trying to understand the aspects of feminism and so many other things. So during that time, I asked her, ma'am, how do you wish a woman on a Woman's Day? Then do you know, she said, yes, of course we say Happy Women's Day, but mainly we say congratulations to one another, that we have actually come a long way today to where we are. However, the struggle continues. It is a long process, long drawn process, and our eminent speakers here with us, Neha Jawale ji, I can see her there, and everybody out here will, I'm sure, agree with us that we have come a long way, but we definitely have a very, very, very long way to go. So we should stand united together and work for it. There are lots of aspects on women empowerment, women gender equality, gender issues that we can go on and on and on, but time doesn't permit us to do that. And moreover, I have to catch a flight back to Guwahati. I hope whatever I said made some sense, because I couldn't prepare a structured speech since I was really moving to and fro last few days. And thank you everyone for giving me an opportunity to speak. I expect to learn a lot from you here today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Pomi ma'am. It was really great to listen to you. And what a start to the discussion. Ma'am touched upon like the very theme of this year's Women Day celebration, which is about creating sustainable futures and like what are the steps that are to be taken by women. And she briefly and very comprehensively did mention about the various women who are at the forefront, like, trying to ensure that we have a sustainable future for our upcoming generations, right? And also, ma'am mentioned about the impact of disparity and inequality and injustice that affect our everyday life as we live as a woman. And now I am opening the floor for questions, for discussions. If there is any discussion, one can please raise a hand and ask ma'am, or you can also type it out on the chat box and I'll read it out for her to answer. Yeah.
কাৰোবাৰ যদি কিবা questions আছে প্লিজ আপোনালোকে এতিয়া আনমিউট কৰি পেলাই questionটো সুধিব পাৰে মেমক পমি মেমক
Actually, I do have a question. I'd like this opportunity to ask her that question. So, like ma'am has mentioned that, you know, in some way or the other, we all face these biases in our everyday life as we conduct our everyday life. So, ma'am, would you like to share with us any instance from your past, like where there was like you really felt the burnt of this disparity or this inequality, and how did you react to it? How did you overcome it? Would you like to share from your personal experience with the group here?
Yes, Costa Rica. Yeah, I will. Thank you for the question. Yes, we all have faced biases. Even I have faced. And like when I had first joined my service, Assam Civil Service, my first assignment was in a district it was in Dorong. So I was in Mangoldoi. And there, during 2004, we had joined, and there was a severe flood in Assam. মানে অসমত বিৰাট ডাঙৰকে flood হৈছিলে, বানপানী হৈছিলে. And during that time, you know, the entire district administration, police, everyone were very busy in taking steps for mitigating the floods, flood relief. It was a massive exercise. 2004 floods was one of the worst. I mean, especially after I joined service, I could see, you know, up close and personal how floods actually affect human lives. It was like really very sad. Manupurahi Rastat Asile, they used to make makeshift houses, they used to stay on the roads. So during that time, you know, we had to take a jeep and go through the marketplaces everywhere, seeing how is the situation and all that. And we had to really work till late hours. I remember during that time I couldn't come home from Mangoldoi to Guwahati. It's like hardly it hardly takes any time, but I couldn't come home for around 45 days because roads were also blocked, because people had made makeshift spaces, you know, on the roads. They were staying there because houses were inundated with water. So during that time, I was on a jeep with, you know, some of the people from the line departments, etc. And then we were going through a marketplace and some submerged area, pani hoi gosile bahut jagat. So at a particular jagat, mane jeep khon, it went and it hit the drain. It was about to fall into the drain because of the water level. No, we couldn't know where the drain was, where the water, you know, land was. So the jeep entered and somehow we all scrambled out. And I remember I was just, you know, holding my salwar and, you know, our dupatta and all the paraphernalia that we have. Then anyways, it was sorted and we did our work and I came back. But later, then we also had to get on a boat. And of course, we came back in the evening doing our work. But later when we were, you know, in our office, we entered the office to report to the deputy commissioner what was happening and all that. Then when I had entered, I heard somebody speaking in the back. So they were saying that, do you think really ladies are up, you know, can they do? She must have had a very terrible time today because, you know, as a woman, you're not used to all this, right? So a flood area joa, iman kosto kora, e ratiloke thaka, you know, working so hard, late hours, odd hours, through difficult terrain. Why? What is the need, you know, for women? So you keep hearing those jibes, and then you get used to it and you decide that, you know, let my work prove it, whether I will be able to kind of live up to the expectations or do the works and duties that have been allotted to me, like that. So there are many instances. So that was the first, because that's what I remember, and it really had an impact in my heart. And I felt really sad when I heard people, you know, that person say that ladies should actually go for more comfortable jobs. And but then I decided that next day I'll go again early morning 6, and I'm going to come back late at night, and I'm going to do it better this time, so that this kind of differences that we make between a man and a woman doesn't arise, at least in my case. So that is what happened.
Correct. Thank you, Pomi ma'am, for answering this. And there are a couple of more questions which we have just received. Just to summarize, people some Shubhashmita has asked like your perspective on feminism. I think you have quite addressed it while you were speaking about the daily biases that we face in our day-to-day life. So yeah, and for the for like we're running short in time also, so I would ask Shubhamita to go back and because ma'am has already briefly spoken on that. And then there was a question about what could be done for rural areas, in rural areas for advancing the concept of gender equality and women empowerment. So if you'd quickly like to touch upon that, and then we move ahead to our next speaker.
Yes, that is a very important and pertinent question, because India still lives in the rural areas. Like I have been stressing in my entire address that I made in the last few hours, that we should not only think of ourselves in our cozy rooms, we should go beyond and look at women who are out there, because that is where our state, our country lives. Well, there are massive issues of gender inequality in the massive issues of gender inequality in rural as well as urban areas, and we have different approaches to take care of that. Now, in the rural areas, I feel there is a need for concerted efforts by everyone, starting from the Panchayati Raj institutions, to the local bodies, to the women leaders out there, our ASHA workers, our field level workers who are out there, our ANMs, Anganwadi workers, everyone who's out there, including all the stakeholders. There is this need to take forward gender equality there, starting from basic issues such as primary education, ensuring that our girls, have a right to go and get primary education first. That is very basic, because what happens is government has made various policies, and they have ensured that free education, primary education is given to all. However, we still see that there are a lot of school dropouts in schools, and then generally in rural areas, I have my domestic help, and then I keep hearing from them that it really pains when you hear their stories, and then they tell you that they were good in studies, they continued their education to class 6, 7, whatever, but because they had to ensure that their brothers study more, that the brother gets more opportunities, so they were pulled back to take care of their brothers and other male siblings when their mother and father went to the field or were trying to earn their livelihood. The sister had to be pulled back, be at home, taking care of the brothers, so that the brothers had a better future. Because, and even it's in their mind, they don't think it in a wrong way. They feel that, yes, that is how it should be. I did a very good thing, ma'am, I did a right thing, that I came back because now my brother is working, brother has a little farm, or whatever, because that is how that conditioning has been done to all of us. So I think we have to approach that deep down and bring these changes. So I'll request everyone who's involved in any way, to talk about gender equality, to ensure that in our own homes we take care of all these issues. Aru eta kotha mane, I would like to really emphasize on this point is that we talk a lot about women's issues during International Women's Day. I will see banners, posters, so many things. You have discounts. You can't go to a mall because everywhere there's a discount for a Women's Day, and so many other things going on. Promoting International Women's Day. All that is fine, but I feel that women's issues need to be discussed every day. Every day should be a Women's Day. Because you just look out and you see to the next person, you will see that there, be it rural, be it urban, there is inequality, there's rampant discrimination going on. And we should all work together with empathy empathy with intelligence and with cohesiveness, so that we can remove this. And as far as rural inequality goes, it is deep set, it is there. And because of the interventions that have been made, in various fields by various stakeholders, so those inequalities are now coming to the fore and solutions are being found. And I hope, like Hardeep has already said, that in the coming days, we will be able to kind of, bridge the gaps and reduce the inequalities and discriminations and finally move towards a gender equal world. Thank you.
Thank you, Pommy ma'am. I just saw Sneha ma'am wanted to say something. She just raised her hand. So Sneha ma'am, please come in. We'd love a discussion.
यस पोमी जी, बहुत अच्छे से और बहुत सरल भाषा में आपने समझाया वुमेन इक्वलिटी के बारे में। आई थिंक बहुत जगह पे वुमेन इक्वलिटी मिलता है काम करने की और रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज के हद में। जैसे छोटे गांव में भी आप जाते हो या लेडी हॉकर्स को आप देखते हो, तो वो अपना घर देखती है, बच्चों को संभालती है, बच्चों का एजुकेशन के लिए ध्यान देती है, उनके टिफिन वगैरह बनवाती है, हस्बैंड का पूरा रिलेटिव देखती है, हस्बैंड का पूरा फ्रेंड सर्कल संभालती है आते जाते, खुद का फैमिली संभालती है, अपने रिलेटिव संभालती है, सोशल लाइफ संभालती है, मगर फिर भी उसको कहीं इक्वालिटी नहीं मिलता है। बट जब बात आती है रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज की, तो तुम माँ हो, तुमने क्या किया? बच्चों को देखना तुम्हारा हक है क्योंकि तुम माँ हो, उनको संस्कार देना तुम्हारा काम है, रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, क्योंकि तुम माँ हो। बच्चों ने यहाँ तक खाना नहीं खाया, वो सो गए होंगे जल्दी खेल के थक के आने के बाद, फिर भी ये कहा जाता है कि तुम्हारा ध्यान नहीं है। जबकि इक्वालिटी की स्ट्रेंथ बाय बर्थ हमको मिली हुई है। आई ऑलवेज फील जैसे एक सक्सेसफुल लेडी होती है सक्सेसफुल मेन आदमी के पीछे, वैसे ही आदमी भी होते हैं, इतना कि नहीं होते हैं। आई रिस्पेक्ट ऑल द जेंट्स, फ्रेंड्स है, बट बिसाइड दैट वुमेन को थोड़ा स्ट्रेंथ ज्यादा मिला है। सो आई ऑलवेज बिलीव कि मैं थोड़ी सी अपर साइड में हूँ एज अ वुमेन। मैं एक जन्म दे सकती हूँ, एक पर्सन यहाँ पे लेके आ सकती हूँ, विच इज रियली ब्यूटीफुल थिंग। बट वो पेन सिचुएशन एज एन मदर आप भी समझते हो कितना होता है, मूड स्विंग्स कितने होते हैं। अभी बहुत जन समझने शुरू हो गए कि मंथली पीरियड्स जब आते हैं तो क्या प्रॉब्लम्स होती है, उसके बिसाइड भी क्योंकि हम वर्किंग है इसलिए हम वो नहीं सोच सकते कि हम खाना नहीं बना सकते, हम ऑफिस नहीं जाएंगे। वो सेम डे पे हमको भागदौड़ करना पड़ता है, आज की हमारी जरूरत बन गई है वो। और एवरी मंथ 4-5 डेज हमको लीव भी कोई नहीं देता है। तो आई ऑलवेज फील कि हमारा इक्वालिटी उनसे थोड़ा ज्यादा है, बट विद द सेम रिस्पेक्ट टू देम ऑल्सो। मैं बस इतना कहना चाहती हूँ, उनके डिसीजन को थोड़ा रिस्पेक्ट करो। घर में खाना क्या बनना है से लेके बच्चे किस स्कूल में जाएंगे, आगे चल के क्या करेंगे, इसमें उनको कहीं जगह नहीं दी जाती है, वो देना जरूरी है। उनकी डिसीजंस को रिस्पेक्ट करनी जरूरी है। वो भी पढ़ी लिखी है, आप जितना जानते हो आपसे कम या ज्यादा उसका भी नॉलेज हो, तो एटलीस्ट एक सजेशन उसका काउंट करो। उनके किसी प्रॉपर्टीज भी नाम नहीं होते हैं। जस्ट एन वेरी गुड एग्जाम्पल, अभी पूना में पिछले वीक में 150 लेडीज का नाम खेती के
सॉरी स्नेहा मैम, मैं आपको बीच में थोड़ा टोक रही हूँ। एक्चुअली पॉमी मैम का अभी फ्लाइट है, तो
it is okay. I have postponed the flight for some time. I'm really enjoying. स्नेहा जी,
ओके, थैंक यू।
स्नेहा
मैम बोलिए।
हाँ स्नेहा जी, प्लीज कंटिन्यू कीजिए।
जी, तो वो चीजें भी हमारे इसमें आनी अभी बहुत जरूरी है। आपका टॉपिक आई लव दिस, मैं हमेशा इस टॉपिक पे भी बहुत बार बात कर चुकी हूँ। और एज एन मदर, एज एन लेडी, मैं चाहती हूँ, हमेशा से मैंने ये ध्यान दिया है कि मेरे घर से मैं शुरुआत करूँ। चैरिटी बिगिंस होम कहते हैं। तो जब मैं माँ होके मैं अपने बेटे को थोड़ा सा ज्यादा मलाई, 1-2 ज्यादा एक्स्ट्रा, कुछ चिकन के पीसेस एक्स्ट्रा, तो ये ना होते हुए जिसकी जितनी भूख है, जिसका जितना एपेटाइट है उस हिसाब से दो, ना कि वो बेटा है ना कि ये बेटी है तो ये पराए घर जाएगी, ये तो पराया धन है। लकीली अब ये सिचुएशन काफी हद तक नॉर्मल आ रही है, थैंक्स टू यू गाइज। आपके जैसे इतने लोग काम कर रहे हैं इस टॉपिक पे, जिस वजह से बहुत ज्यादा चेंज मिल रहा है. तो रियली वांटेड टू से थैंक यू.
धन्यवाद स्नेहा जी, आपने बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट पॉइंट्स पे टच किए हैं. एंड आपने जो बोले हैं, आई एग्री टू एवरीथिंग. लाइक यू सेड कि ये घर में ही शुरुआत होते हैं. जैसे मेरा एक बेटी है एंड मेरी एक बेटी है और एक बेटा है. तो यू नो आई हैव सीन कि वो टेंडेंसीज रहते हैं ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स या किसी का कि बेटा छोटा है, उसको करने दो. बेटी को बोला जाता है अच्छा यू कॉम्प्रोमाइज, तुम रहने दो, उसको खेलने दो, उसको वीडियो गेम का रिमोट चाहिए, दोनों खेल रहा है. अगर बेटा को ज्यादा टाइम के लिए चाहिए तो ही इज अलाउड, अच्छा करने दो, बेटा है, ये है वो है. बट आई हैव स्टार्टेड नॉट अलाउइंग दैट एट होम. जैसे आपने बोला है ना, पहले टेंडेंसीज ऐसा था कि बेटा को ज्यादा खाना दिया जाता है ना, लेकिन वो होना नहीं चाहिए. दैट इज एक्चुअली रॉन्ग. हम लोगों को वी हैव टू स्टार्ट एट होम. আৰু এই কথাষাৰ, এই গোটেই কথাখিনি মই মানে সকলোকে বুজাব বিচাৰিছো. মানে घर में ही स्टार्ट होना चाहिए. वो जो डिस्क्रिमिनेशन स्टार्ट होता है ना बेटा बेटी का, उसको आप बंद कीजिए कि बेटा बेटी इक्वल है. वो लोग बड़ा होके इक्वली काम करेंगे, हम लोगों को इक्वली देखेंगे, वो आप और वो लोग इक्वली प्रोग्रेस करेंगे. वो आपको सोचना है. जो हम लोगों का एक कंडीशनिंग होता है कि लड़का जाके बड़ा होगा, बड़ा काम करेगा, बेटियों को तो शादी करके बाहर भेजना है ना, they'll go to a different house, and you see all that in that perspective. But that has to change. It has changed supremely. It has changed a lot. हम लोग क्या करते हैं आजकल का सोसाइटीज चेंज हो रहे हैं, and we have seen that we are training our girls to be like boys. But tell me one thing, how many of us actually also train our boys to be like girls? Do we tell our boys that they have to cook, they have to clean the house, they have to pick up the shoes, they have to keep their wet towels inside the thing, do they have to do the dishes? ये सब लड़कों को भी करना है. जैसे पैंडेमिक के टाइम में क्या हुआ, मैं सुबह से शाम रात तक मैं आई वाज वर्किंग. तो इनिशियली हम लोग को बहुत इश्यूज हुआ था. माय हस्बैंड वुड टेल मी इतना देर से यू आर कमिंग होम, हु विल टेक केयर ऑफ द किड्स, दिस दैट, बिकॉज ही वाज डूइंग बिजनेस वाज शट ड्यूरिंग लॉकडाउन. उसको घर में रहना चाहिए था. तो देन वन डे आई टोल्ड हिम आई कैन नॉट लीव माय वर्क. मेरा जो काम है ना अभी इस पेंडेमिक के टाइम में ये बहुत ही जरूरी है. मुझे मालूम है कि मैं अपने बेटा बेटी को बिल्कुल टाइम नहीं दे पाती हूँ. मैंने उन लोगों को देखा ही नहीं था, क्योंकि सुबह कभी 6 बजे में जब घर जाती थी मेरी बेटी बेटा सोए हुए थे. जब मैं रात को 11-12 बजे घर जाती थी मेरा बेटी बेटे सोए हुए थे. आई डिडंट सी देम. वो लोग जब उठते थे मैं ऑफिस में थी. वो लोग क्या खा रहे हैं, उन लोगों को क्या मेंटल हेल्थ इश्यूज है, क्या है, आई वॉज ऑब्लिवियस. This period was harmful for everyone, for all of us. मेरा भी बहुत ही मेरे issues हो गया था उस वक्त. But then one day I sat with my husband and I told him that why don't you start, since you are staying at home, no, start taking care of the children, keep an eye on them. Why do you expect the woman always to be there for the child? If the child is coughing, can't you also give that child a cough syrup? Can't you give the child medicine? Can't you also be more into that? I understand that you had a pampered upbringing. आपका मम्मी ने इतना पैम्पर करके आप लोगों को बड़ा किया है that sometimes it's difficult to think beyond the thing that a man has to only work. घर में नहीं काम करना चाहिए. But वो concept को अभी it has to go down. जैसे we have homemakers and housewives, why can't we have house husbands? If the wife is going out and earning her livelihood, if a husband doesn't want to feel like earning, why can't he stay at home and look after the kids? इसमें क्या बड़ी बात है? Because if we are talking about equality, we have to talk about equality in the complete and entire sense of the term. So thank God कि pandemic के time में मेरा पति he understood everything. He was understanding. So that is the reason why actually I could continue doing the good work. But imagine a situation if a woman or a doctor comes out to work and she's working day and night, and back उनके घर में उनके सास या उनकी मम्मी या उनका पति बोलते हैं कि तुम इतना सुबह जाती हो, रात के बाद ऐसा नहीं होगा, तुमको नहीं जाना है, you are not allowed to work. What will happen then? Can you understand the plight of that woman? ऐसी बहुत सारी स्त्रियां हैं, औरतें हैं. They are like extremely good, hardworking, dedicated, sincere. But because they do not get the support from home, that's why they have to pull themselves back. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. So अभी हम हमारे second speaker के पास आते हैं. So स्नेहा जी, आपने ऑलरेडी हमें like you have been on camera, we are seeing you, we are hearing your questions. So giving a little introduction of Sneha ma'am, Sneha Jawale. I think somebody is unmute. अगर आप लोग बुरा ना मानो तो सभी म्यूट हो जाओगे क्या, मतलब हाँ, क्वेश्चन आंसर्स के टाइम में हम आप लोग को अनम्यूट कर देंगे, ठीक है? So yes, coming to our next speaker, Sneha Jawale ji, a woman who survived burn attack on domestic violence to make a mark for herself. After 20 painful surgeries, she has been advised for more surgeries, but this time she said just no more. In her words, will all the surgeries will make any difference to my look? And in her word again, I'm saying, no, I'm simply happy the way I look. She being very blunt by saying the statement that this is my face, and if someone has a problem looking at it, don't look. Her journey from happy-go-lucky girl to dowry victim, now she is a successful astrologer, actor, is really incredible, encouraging, and inspirational. And ma'am, this make you really a powerful woman and a powerful personality. And before listening from you, I would like to say people who are attending this event and across the country, we love you the way you are. Ma'am, please come ahead. Over to you.
नमस्ते एवरीवन, नमस्ते। जैसे ही अभी मेरा इंट्रोडक्शन दे दिया, बर्न सर्वाइवल हूँ डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस के लिए। मुझे मेरे इन-लॉज ने जलाया था केरोसिन डाल के डाउरी के लिए, दहेज प्रथा से प्रताड़ित किया था मुझे। महाराष्ट्र में दहेज अभी भी बहुत ज्यादा बड़े लेवल पे चलता है। बहुत शॉर्ट में अपनी स्टोरी बताती हूँ। पहले तो जैसे नॉर्मली शादी देख के की जाती है, मैच की जाती है, उसी तरह से पापा मम्मी के कहने पे शादी हुई थी किसी एक पापा के फ्रेंड के थ्रू। शादी होने के पहले से ही इश्यूज आ रहे थे, ये खर्चा आप करोगे, इतना पैसा दोगे, इस तरह से हो रहा था। और पापा ने ये सोच के उस टाइम पे हाँ बोला था कुछ चीजें देने के लिए, जो शायद उनकी भी थोड़ी बहुत गलती है कि बेटी का संस्कार शुरू हो रहा है, न्यू लाइफ स्टार्ट हो रही है, तो उसके मैरिज के बाद उसके घर के लिए हेल्प बोल के उन्होंने कुछ चीजें देने के लिए, गोल्ड देने के लिए, फर्नीचर देने के लिए हाँ बोला। बट वो देने के बाद जब शादी का दिन था और शादी के 2 दिन पहले हल्दी के लिए मुझे लेके आए थे, तभी से उनके सारे चेंजेस दिखने शुरू हो चुके थे। और मुझे शादी के दिन मेरे सबसे छोटे चाचा और मेरा भाई मेरे से 1 साल छोटा है, वो मिलने आया था हॉल पे ना जाते हुए पहले मुझे कि मैं 2 दिन से यहाँ पे हूँ और नए से हूँ तो मुझे भी थोड़ी दिक्कतें आ रही होंगी, तो हम जाएंगे तो उसको अच्छा लगेगा सरप्राइज देके। और जब मैंने अपने अंकल को, छोटे चाचा को शेक हैंड किया, मेरे भाई को जस्ट क्रॉस में हाथ डाल के खड़ी थी, किस तरह से जेल से मिलती हो, तो मेरे लिए मेरा भाई भाई है, मेरे से 1.5 साल छोटा है वो, तो हम एक साथ खेले हैं, लड़े हैं, एक दूसरे पे जंप किया है, तो यहाँ पे जेंट्स और लेडी का कोई सवाल नहीं था। सेम चीज गोज विथ माय फादर ऑल्सो। शादी के बाद जब पापा मिलने आए थे, मुझे लेने आए थे, तो एक डिस्टेंस पे मुझे कहा गया था कि बात करना है। मेरे लिए मेरे पापा बचपन से हीरो रहे, जो हर लड़की के लिए रहते हैं। मेरे को बहुत चीजें मेरे पापा ने सिखाई है, किस तरह से बात करना है, किस तरह से स्टडी को याद रखना है, बहुत चीजें सिखाई है। तो लड़की की लाइफ में उसका फर्स्ट हीरो उसके पापा होते हैं आई गेस, जो मेरे लिए भी था। मेरे लिए मेरे पापा टेडी बियर रहे हैं। मुझे मेरे पापा लेडी या जेंट्स समझ में नहीं आता है, ना ही मुझे मम्मा को लेके वो ख्याल आता है। तो सेम चीजें होनी शुरू हो गई। और फिर जैसे शादी होके 3-4 दिन हो गए और मुझे मारा गया था फॉर द सिंगल छोटे छोटे रीजन के लिए। और महाराष्ट्रियंस में हिंदू धर्म के हिसाब से बहुत सारे फेस्टिवल फर्स्ट ईयर के जो होते हैं वो बहुत अच्छे से धाम धूम से मनाए जाते हैं कि जवाई को बुलाना है, उसका रिस्पेक्ट करना है, उसको चीजें देनी है, इन लॉज के घर पे सबको कपड़े देने हैं, गोल्ड देने हैं, तो डिमांड्स बढ़ते गए। ये फर्स्ट फेस्टिवल है तो तुमको गोल्ड चेन के साथ देना पड़ेगा, जो भी दे रहे हो कपड़े वगैरह, अब ये है तो आपको रिंग देना पड़ेगा, अब ये है तो आपको ये चीजें देनी पड़ेगी। जबकि पापा ने ऑलमोस्ट सब फर्नीचर भी दिया था मेरे शादी में, पर डिमांड कम नहीं हो रहे थे। शादी के 3-4 4.5 साल बाद भी ये चीजें खत्म नहीं हो रही थी। 97 अप्रैल में शादी हुई थी मेरी, और 2000 में मुझे जलाया गया था 24 दिसंबर को रात को 9:30 बजे। उस दिन हस्बैंड के बड़े भाई भी उनके साथ घर पे आए थे, तो इस वजह से गेट के एंट्री पे कहीं उनका एंट्री नहीं लिखा गया था, क्योंकि वो सेम कार में मेरे हस्बैंड के साथ बैठ के आए थे। सब घर में खाना वाना हो गया था, रात के ऑलमोस्ट 9:30 हो गए थे, और मैं किचन प्लेटफॉर्म साफ कर रही थी। मुझे मेरे हस्बैंड की आवाज आई, नेहू पानी दो। तो मैं पानी लेके हॉल में देने के लिए गई। वो दोनों सोफे के साइड साइड पे बैठे थे, उनके बड़े भाई और हस्बैंड। मैं पानी लेके खड़ी थी कुछ टाइम तक, देखा कि ये लोग कंटिन्यूशन में अपने टॉपिक पे डिस्कशन पे है, तो मैंने साइलेंटली पानी नीचे रखा और चल रही थी। उतने में उनके बड़े भाई ने बोला, इसको तो तमीज नहीं है, पानी मुंह पे रख के चली गई। तो मैं टर्न होके जवाब दिया, भैया मैंने पानी मुंह पे नहीं रखा है, मैंने नीचे रखा है, वो ग्लास है, ग्लास का ग्लास अगर टूट जाएगा तो पानी भी वेस्ट होगा, मेरा ही काम पड़ेगा, तो आप ऐसे कैसे बोल रहे हो मुंह पे रख के गई, फेंक के गई। मैंने सीधा से रखा है क्योंकि आप दोनों बात कर रहे थे। उन्होंने कुछ बोला नहीं, मैं अंदर चली गई। 4-5 मिनट तक दोनों में क्या बात हुई मुझे कुछ पता नहीं, क्योंकि मैं किचन का प्लेटफॉर्म साफ कर रही थी। हस्बैंड एमबीए स्टूडेंट रहे हैं, इतने पढ़े लिखे, इंजीनियरिंग प्लस एमबीए होके भी कुछ चीजों के लिए बहुत स्टबर्न थे। कपड़े पहनने से लेके आप किसी से बात ना करने तक। मेरे घर में जहाँ मैं हस्बैंड के साथ रहती थी, मेरे पापा मेरे भाई कोई अलाउड नहीं था, क्योंकि वो जेंट्स है। मेरी मम्मा और मेरी सिस्टर्स अलाउड थे, क्योंकि वो लेडी हैं। यहाँ तक कि उन्होंने ये भी बोल रखा था कि अगर उनके भाई या उनके फैमिली से भी कोई जेंट्स आता है घर पे तो उसको घर में नहीं लेने का, मैं नहीं हूँ तो वो भी सिचुएशंस होके गए। उस दिन 24 दिसंबर की नाइट थी। नेक्स्ट डे हमको घर खरीदने के लिए घर देखने जाना था, और इनके घर से प्रेशर आ रहा था कि तुम मुंबई में घर नहीं लोगे, तुमको गांव में ही घर लेना है। तो मैंने सीधा से बोला, जो पापा की प्रॉपर्टी है उसमें से तो हमको कुछ नहीं चाहिए, पर अगर मेरा बेटा यहाँ रह के सीखना चाहता है और लोन लेके घर कर रहे हैं तो मुंबई या पुणे जैसे सिटीज में करो, क्योंकि वो एजुकेशन के लिए अच्छा है। आपके बच्चे हो चाहे मेरा बच्चा हो, वहां रह के सीख सकते हैं। हम तो ट्रांसफरेबल जॉब में हैं। और कहीं ना कहीं वो बात हस्बैंड को समझ में आ गई थी कि ये बराबर बोल रही है, और उन्होंने उस चीज को हाँ बोला। पर उसी दिन हस्बैंड के भाई आए थे, उन दोनों में क्या चर्चाएं हो रही थी पता नहीं। पानी का ग्लास रख के जो मैं अंदर चली गई थी, मेरे पीछे दोनों आके किचन के दरवाजे पे खड़े रहे अंदर की तरफ। मुझे फिर से आवाज दी गई, नहीं, और मैं टर्न कर रही थी। तब तक उनके भाई के हाथ में, मुझे थोड़ा बहुत पेंटिंग का शौक था, तो इतना सा केरोसिन मेरी मेड ने लाके दिया था। एक कैन को कट करके बॉटल जैसा करके मैंने उसमें मेरे ब्रश कलर के डुबो के रखे थे फॉर द क्लीनिंग। उन्होंने किचन के बेसिन में वो ब्रश निकाल के डाल दिए, और उतना सा ही जो थोड़ा सा केरोसिन था उसको मेरे ऊपर फेंक दिया गया। मैंने वी-नेक का टॉप पहना था, नीचे पैजामा था। जैसे ही केरोसिन फेंका गया, वो चेस्ट के नेक की तरफ के एरिया से जाके पेट पे गिर गया था। मुझे कुछ समझने के पहले ही दोनों का क्या थॉट था, किस चीज का मुझे लेके गुस्सा था, आज तक मुझे उस चीज को मालूम नहीं है। जहां वो खड़े थे वहां फ्रिज के ऊपर मैच बॉक्स बड़े रखे थे, जो पहले होम लाइट के आते थे। वो मेरी गलती शायद इतनी हो गई कि मैंने चिल्ला के बोला, क्या करना चाहते हो, मुझे मारना चाहते हो क्या? और वो बात ट्रिगर कर गई या क्या हुआ, आई रियली डोंट अंडरस्टैंड टिल डेट। मैच बॉक्स का काडी जला के उनके भाई के हाथ में था, और वो बोल रहे थे फेंक उसके ऊपर, फेंक उसके ऊपर। और क्योंकि मैं आई कांटेक्ट पे बात कर रही थी, तो मुझे आज भी याद नहीं आता है वो मैच बॉक्स की तीली उसके भाई ने फेंकी या उन्होंने फेंकी, क्योंकि फेंका जब गया तो वो पेट की तरफ फेंका गया, वहां से भटका उड़ गया और वो आग की लपटों में जितना खुला पोर्शन था, नेक से लेके फेस और अंदर की तरफ से सारे हाथ, वो जलने शुरू हो गए। मैं चिल्लाना शुरू हो गई क्योंकि मेरा 4 साल का बेटा ये पूरा इंसिडेंट देख रहा था। उसको मेरे पति ने पैर की तरह से पीछे से पैर लगा के उसको धक्का दे दिया और बिठा दिया। जब उन्होंने देखा कि बहुत जलना शुरू हो गई है तो उन्होंने उठा के किचन के सामने सामने एक बाथरूम था, वहां फेंक दिया, शॉवर नल वल सब ऑन कर दिए और वो देखते रह गए। उस टाइप का जो फीलिंग था, वो बर्न था, वो पेन था, वो आज भी याद आता है। फेस से स्किन जैसे मेल्ट होकर टपक रहा था, लिटरली जिसे पॉलिथीन टपकता है। वो टपकना स्किन का देख के वो बेहोश जैसे होके नीचे ऐसे बैठ गए और मुझे उस टाइम पे बस इतना फीलिंग था कि ये मेरे बेटे का फादर है, अब इसको कुछ नहीं होना चाहिए। इस टाइम पे मैं माउथ टू माउथ उसको सांस देके उसको जगाया, पानी डाल के, देखिए रियलाइज की बहुत ज्यादा हो गया। उसने सामने के दोनों नेबर्स को बेल बजाई और उन्होंने ये बोला, नेहा ने अपने आप को जला दिया। मैंने नहीं जलाया, मेरा 4 साल का बेटा पूरी स्टोरी देख रहा था, मैंने नहीं जलाया। बट क्योंकि वो बड़े लेवल पे काम करता था, उसके हाथ में बहुत कॉन्टैक्ट थे, पैसे थे और मैं हाउसवाइफ थी। मेरा किसी ने सुना नहीं। मुझे वहां से एक हॉस्पिटल में लेके गया जहाँ मुझे फर्स्ट एड दिया और उसके बाद मेरे सारे ज्वेलरी निकाल के किसी को दे दिए उनके पहचान में और मुझे हिंदुजा हॉस्पिटल एडमिट किया। आज के डेट तक मुझे नहीं कहीं याद आता है कोई पुलिस वाले ने आके मुझसे बात की है, मेरा स्टेटमेंट लिया है। मुझे बस याद आता है एक एनजीओ के लेडी थे वहां पे जो आके मुझे बार बार बोलते थे 4 दिन के बाद, जब मैं होश में आई तब कि क्या हुआ है बताओ। और मैं जब होश में आई तब मैं बस ऐसे करती थी और हस्बैंड की तरफ हाथ दिखाती थी, उनके भाई की तरफ हाथ दिखाती थी क्योंकि सारे नली लगाए हुए थे, बात नहीं कर सकती थी। तो मेरे छोटे चाचा और मेरे पापा समझ गए थे कि ये बोलना चाह रही है कि इनको अरेस्ट करो, इनको अरेस्ट करो, पर कुछ नहीं हुआ। बाद में जब 1 साल भर बाद मैं खोज करनी शुरू हो गई तो पुलिस का स्टेटमेंट ये दिखाया जाता है कि मैंने अपने आप को जलाया। रात को कहते हैं लाइट करंट स्विच ऑन ऑफ हो रहा था और मुझे कॉफी पीने का शौक है, विच इज एब्सोल्युटली रॉन्ग। आई एम कंप्लीटली टी पर्सन। अभी भी अगर मेरे ब्लड टेस्ट किया जाए तो कॉफी है या चाय होती है मेरे ब्लड में पता चलेगी। और वहां से बताया गया कि मैंने अपने आप को जलाने की कोशिश की है। कहीं पे लिखा जाता है कि ये उस टाइम पे ये ऑन ऑफ हो रहा था और क्योंकि मुझे डैंड्रफ था और मैंने केरोसिन बाल में लगाया था, कैन यू इमेजिन, बाल में कौन केरोसिन लगाता, इस वजह से वो आग के लपटे मुझ पे आ गया और फेस जल गया। मेरे मदर इन लॉ ने गांव में बता के रखा सबको कि उसको खाने बनाने का शौक है, विच इज राइट। तो खाना बनाते समय उसका मुंह मिक्सर में चला गया, बहुत मेरा मुंह मिक्सर में जाता तो ब्लेंड होके चिकन पीस बाहर में आता था, नॉट कि मेरा फेस जला हुआ दिखता था।
मैम प्लीज डोंट क्राई। आप मतलब हम लोगों के लिए आप एक साहस हो। प्लीज डोंट क्राई।
I know, I'm sorry, but I don't know. मैं ये विंडोज हमेशा बंद करके रखती हूँ मेमोरीज की, मैं ओपन नहीं होना चाहती। That is there कि मुझे आज भी बताते समय I feel कि burn is there, वो गर्माहट समझ में आती है। तो आज भी मैं ओवरकम कर नहीं पाई हूँ उस सिचुएशन से। फिर वहां से जर्नी जो स्टार्ट हुआ मेरा, 2 साल 7 महीने तक साथ में रहे, मुझे कहीं पुलिस कंप्लेंट नहीं करने दी, मुझे लोगों से डिटैच किया, मुझे मेरे फैमिली से डिटैच किया, ये कहते कि वो हमारी घर की बहू है, आप बार बार आते जाते रहोगे तो वो जल्दी से रिकवर नहीं हो पाएगी। भरोसा जल्दी लगता था तो मुझे पहले कहा जाता था तुम अंदर जाओ, फिर दरवाजा खोलते थे। उस दिन मैं हॉस्पिटल से पहली बार 2.5 मंथ हॉस्पिटल में रही और जब मैं घर पे आई तो मेरे बेडरूम में से मेरा पिलो और मेरा चद्दर दूसरे रूम में फेंका गया लिटरली और बोला गया तुम उधर सो जाओ। बहुत टाइम तक अपने आप को देख नहीं पाती थी। घर में जो भी थोड़ा बहुत फील था उसमें भी अगर चम्मच में भी अपना मुंह देखा तो पहला रिएक्शन जाता था कि मैं चम्मच फेंक देती थी। विंडोज में, ग्लास पे, मैंने हर जगह कवर किया था। जहां कर्टन डाल सकती हूँ कर्टन डाल दिए, जहां पे नहीं डाल सकती हूँ उसको मैंने पेपर से कवर करके रखा था, क्योंकि मैं रिफ्लेक्शन देख के अपने आप को देख नहीं पा रही थी। मैं यूज टू नहीं हो चुकी थी उस फेस के साथ, मैं डर जाती थी। मुझे अगर नींद में भी मेरा हाथ मेरे सामने आता था तो वो बर्न देख के मुझे लगता था कुछ कीड़ा वीड़ा है और मैं झटक देती थी अपना हाथ। बहुत ज्यादा डिप्रेशन में गई थी। और जब 2 साल 7 महीने बाद उन्होंने एक दिन देखा, मैं उस दिन भी हॉस्पिटल से आई थी क्योंकि हर 3 महीने बाद मेरे सर्जरीज होते थे। एक सर्जरी के बाद 3-3.5 महीने का गैप होता है क्योंकि आपके थाई की या कहीं और की स्किन निकाल के आप स्प्रिंग ग्राफ्ट किया जाता है, तो वो 2 जगह पे ऊंट होते हैं, जख्म होते हैं। उस दिन भी मैं आई। अगर आप ठीक से मेरा नोज देखो तो इस तरफ का नोज पूरा दब गया और यहाँ का ओपन है। यहाँ से सांस लेने में तकलीफ है क्योंकि 2 पाइप्स अंदर डाले थे। उस टाइम नोज का, थोड़ा लिप का सर्जरी हुआ था मेरा और हाथ का सर्जरी हुआ था, स्क्रीन ग्राफ्टिंग किया हुआ था। तो मैं जब घर आई तो पाइप थोड़े बाहर तक थे ताकि मैं सांस ले पाऊं और बाकी नाक कवर किया था, लिप्स कवर किए थे। मैं चल नहीं पा रही हूँ ठीक से, अपने 2 ड्रेस डाला हुआ बैग नहीं उठा पा रही हूँ। पर जब घर पे आई तो मदर इन लॉ ने कहना शुरू किया, आ गई फिर से स्टूडेंट, इसको पता नहीं क्यों ये लेके आता है बार बार। कितनी बार बोला तेरी दूसरी शादी करके देती हूँ, इतने अच्छे लेवल पे है तू, कमाता अच्छा है, तो तेरे को तो कोई भी लड़की मिल जाएगी जो हमारे घर की बहू बने। और मैंने बहुत शांति तरीके से कहा, मम्मी मैं अभी घर पे आई हूँ, मैं अपने आप का ख्याल नहीं रख सकती, तो प्लीज आप अभी शांत हो जाइए। अभी मेरे लिए नहीं पेशेंस है कि मैं सह भी पाऊँ, मैं रोना शुरू कर दूं, जो मेरे सर्जरी के लिए अच्छा नहीं है। और जब मैं बाहर ही खड़ी हूँ तब तक हस्बैंड नीचे से गाड़ी पार्क करके आए। बोला क्या हुआ, तो मम्मी ने उनके बोल दिया ये मुझे मारने के लिए आई है। इंजीनियर MBA बंदा, मेरे हाथ की सर्जरी है, यहाँ से दिखेगा आपको सारा सर्जरी है। मेरा हाथ पूरा बांधा हुआ है यहाँ तक ऐसे, और मेरे नोज में है, मेरे लिप्स पे है, और मैं राइट हाथ का अगर हाथ सर्जरी है, मैं राइटी हूँ, तो क्या मैं मार सकती हूँ किसी को? बॉडी पे जब मेरे 300-400 1 टाइप पे स्टिचेस आते हैं, राइट नाउ मेरे बॉडी पे मोर देन 5500 के ऊपर स्टिचेस है। तो मैंने उनको बस इतनी बात बोली, आप इतने पढ़े लिखे हो, क्या मैं इस सिचुएशन के साथ मार सकती हूँ? उन्होंने उधर ही गुस्से में आके जोर से लगाया, जो नोज पे लगता हुआ झापड़ गया और इस तरफ का नोज का पाइप नीचे गिर गया। 1.5 दिन तक तो मुझे, नेक्स्ट डे तक मुझे याद ही नहीं था कि मेरे नाक का पाइप गिरा हुआ है, बस ब्लड आ रहा था। और उसके साथ ही मैं सेम टाइम जब वो घर से निकले मेरे बेटे को लेके, मम्मी को लेके, बैग ऑलरेडी पैक थे, तो उनका क्या था मुझे मालूम नहीं। मैं भाग रही थी, जैसे यूरिन पास होता है छोटे बच्चे के चड्डी से, वैसे मेरे पैंट से ब्लड निकलता गिर रहा था। मेरे उस बिल्डिंग के वॉचमैन बड़े बुजुर्ग आके मेरे को बोल रहे, मैं आपके पापा के उम्र का हूँ मैडम, प्लीज मत जाइए कहीं, आप अपनी हालत देखो। और उसने मुझे पकड़ के रखने की कोशिश की, मगर मैं फिर भी भागती रही कि ये लोग जा रहे हैं, मेरा बेटा लेके जा रहे हैं, मैं क्या करूँ कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है। 10-15 दिन तक वो आए नहीं। फिर उन्होंने आके अपना जॉब किया साथ, मेरा बेटा उधर ही कुछ टाइम तक रहा। वहां से उसको नासिक भोसला स्कूल में डाला। उसके बाद उन्होंने 1 साल वहां रखने के बाद वाई पंचगनी के स्कूल में उसको डाला। मुझसे 4.5 के बेटे के बाद से मेरा कोई कांटेक्ट नहीं था, और वहां से फिर जर्नी शुरू हो गई। उन्होंने मेरे ऊपर ही उल्टा केस डाला उनके गांव में जाके, ताकि मैं वहां तक नहीं जा पाऊँ। मेरे पापा को ये चीज पता चल गई थी, पर पापा ने भी कोई हेल्प नहीं की। शायद मैं बड़ी बेटी थी और मेरे बाद 3 बच्चे थे, 2 भाई 1 बहन, तो शायद तराजू में उनका वजन कुछ ज्यादा हो गया 3 भाइयों का और मेरा कम पड़ गया, तो उन्होंने मुझे सपोर्ट नहीं किया। जहाँ की वही पापा ने मेरे बहुत लाड प्यार से मेरे को शादी तक बहुत सब कुछ प्रोवाइड किया था, बाइक से लेके हर एक चीज दी थी। उसके बाद इतना डिफरेंस मम्मी पापा के थॉट में क्यों आया, आज तक समझ में नहीं आता है कि मेरी गलती क्या हुई। अगर मैंने अपने आप को जलाया होता तो आप मेरे से रिश्ते तोड़ते तो मैं समझ सकती थी। किसी और के गुस्से के अगर मैं शिकार बनी हूँ, किसी और के थॉट प्रोसेस का अगर मैं शिकार बनी हूँ, तो मेरी गलती क्या है। तो इस स्टेज पे आके बस ये भी बोलना जरूरी लगता है मुझे कि आप अपनी बेटियों का सपोर्ट करो। आपको अगर मालूम है कि वो गलत नहीं है, उसके साथ गलत हुआ है, तो प्लीज हेल्प। आज जिस सिचुएशन पे हूँ, आई एम हैप्पी विथ माई सेल्फ, आई एम लिटिल बिट ऑफ प्राउड ऑफ माई सेल्फ, क्योंकि वहां से फिर जर्नी जो शुरू हुआ 2003 में अक्टूबर को चले गए। 2004 में मैंने अपने आप को सेटल करने की कोशिश की। न्यूज में देखती थी तब एस्ट्रोलॉजर्स आते थे, टैरो कार्ड रीडर्स आते थे, तो उनको देख के एक मन में ये हो गई थी कि मैं कैसे इन तक पहुंचूं, या मेरा लाइफ क्या है आगे, मैं क्यों इस तरह से मेरे साथ हुआ, मुझे क्यों जलाया गया, मेरी गलती क्या थी, मेरे कर्माश थे, मेरा प्रारब्ध था, मेरा पूर्व था, क्या था। तो उस चक्कर में मैं 39 एस्ट्रोलॉजर से मिली इस टाइम पे। इसके बाद कोई फायदा नहीं हुआ। उसमें से 2-3 जन मेरा पास्ट बहुत क्लियर बताते थे, कोई जन मेरा प्रेजेंट बताते थे। तो जब दोनों बातें एक जन की क्लियर नहीं आती थी, तो मेरे को ट्रस्ट नहीं होता था कि आगे कैसे करेक्ट हो सकता है उनका। फिर भी मैं उनके प्रेडिक्शन 15-20 दिन के याद रखती थी। अगर वो नहीं हुए तो मैं दोबारा उनके पास नहीं गई। एक दिन न्यूज़पेपर में मुझे एक एडवर्टाइज दिखा टैरो कार्ड रीडर का, और मुझे लगा कि मुझे यहाँ पे बात करनी चाहिए। मैंने फोन किया, उनको रिक्वेस्ट किया कि मैं ऐसे ऐसे बर्न सर्वाइवल हूँ, मुझे बाहर आना मना है क्योंकि सनलाइट गिरता है तो मेरी सर्जरीज खराब हो जाते हैं, मेरा स्किन कलर चेंज हो जाएगा, तो आप मेरे घर पे किसी को भेज सकते हैं क्या मुझे सिखाने के लिए। तो उन्होंने एक जेंट्स को रिकमेंड किया, और क्योंकि मैं हस्बैंड के उसी फ्लैट में रहती थी जहाँ से वो छोड़ के गए थे, और वो कंपनी फ्लैट था, तो मैंने 2 दिन बाद उनको फिर से फोन करके बोला, सर कोई जेंट्स नहीं लेडीज भेजो, क्योंकि ऐसे सिचुएशंस है, और अगर यहाँ जेंट्स आके 3 घंटा मेरे घर में बैठेगा तो मेरे कैरेक्टर के ऊपर फिर से लांछन लगेंगे, क्वेश्चन उठेगा, और उसको मैं किस तरह से अभी नहीं बता पाऊंगी, मैं प्रूफ नहीं कर पाऊंगी कि मैं गलत नहीं हूँ। तो उन्होंने बोला ठीक है, एक लेडी है उनको भेजता हूँ। एंड उन्होंने जो मेरे गुरु फ्रेंड और उन्होंने कल्पना काले को भेजा, उन्होंने मुझे टैरो का रीडिंग सिखाया। फिर उसके बाद मेरी लालच बढ़ता गया इस फील्ड का, तो एक एक करके मैंने एस्ट्रोलॉजी, न्यूमरोलॉजी, फेस रीडिंग, चाय कॉफी के कप से भविष्य देखना, क्वेश्चंस रीड करना, रेकी डबल ग्रैंड मास्टर, इस तरह से मैंने चीजें सब इस फैकल्टी को रिलेट करते हुए सीखी। कलर थेरेपी, उसके बाद क्या बोलते हो आप इसको, स्टोन्स एंड रुद्राक्ष रिकमेंडेशन, रुद्राक्ष थेरेपी, जल थेरेपी, ये सब मैंने सीखा। और उसको मुझे ऐसे था कि अब मुझे अपना कुछ स्टार्ट करना है, मुझे अपने खोए हुए फेस की आइडेंटिटी बनाने का अगर दोबारा मौका मिलता है तो मैं
ठीक আছে, সকলোলৈ
हाँ।
ধন্যবাদ থাকিল, কৈ থাকক দিয়ক।
अपने सोसाइटी में 7 बिल्डिंग थे, वहां पे मैंने प्रिंट आउट निकाल के परमिशन से सोसाइटी के प्रिंट आउट लगाया कि मैं आपके 3 सवालों के जवाब फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट दे रही हूँ, अगर मैं अपने इसमें पास होती हूँ तो मैं जो बताऊंगी वो मेरे चार्जेस फिक्स होंगे। तो उस दिन सैटरडे संडे 2 दिन के लिए मैंने रखा था। यू डोंट बिलीव, इतने लोग आए कि मुझे खाना खाने के लिए टाइम नहीं मिला उस दिन। और मैंने 3 क्वेश्चन रखे थे, आपके जन्म से लेके अब तक का आपका लाइफ कैसा रहा है, आपके लाइफ में एज के हिसाब से क्या चेंजेस आए हैं नेचर में या लिविंग स्टाइल में या इसमें, और अभी आने वाले 15 दिन आपके कैसे रहेंगे। तो लोगों को बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग लगा। और स्वेयर टू माय प्रोफेशन, मुझे 4-5 दिन में ही कॉल्स आने शुरू हो गए थे कि मैडम हम 15 दिन नहीं रुकना चाहते, आपकी जो बातें हैं बहुत सही है और हमें आपकी कंसल्टिंग सेशन कंटिन्यू चाहता हूँ। इस तरह से हुए। फिर लोगों ने अपने रिलेटिव दूर दूर से बुलाने शुरू किए थे, कोई कलकत्ता से आया, कोई गोवा से आया, कोई महाराष्ट्र के कुछ साइड से आया, और वहां से नाम होना शुरू हो गया, माउथ पब्लिसिटी टू माउथ पब्लिसिटी हुआ। पर अगेन मेरा लालच थोड़ा सा बढ़ता गया और मुझे लगा कि यहाँ पे मुझे टॉप नहीं होना है, तो मुझे ऐसे अनसर्टन फील्ड के लिए प्रेडिक्शन करने हैं जहाँ पे कुछ फिक्स नहीं होता है। तो ऐसे फील्ड क्या है, स्पोर्ट्स पर्सन है, पॉलिटिक्स के पर्सन है और आर्टिस्ट है। तो पहले मैंने आर्टिस्ट लोगों को कनेक्ट होना शुरू हो गया और मैंने जाके टीवी स्टार्स, टीवी एक्टर्स को बोला कि मुझे आपका 1 घंटा चाहिए, मैं आपसे फीस नहीं लूंगी, मैं आपके लिए प्रेडिक्ट करना चाहती हूँ, अगर मेरे प्रेडिक्शन सही रहे तो चार्जेस इज माइन। तो उन्होंने 1-2 जन ने पूछा आपने ये क्यों बोला चार्जेस मेरे रहेंगे। ऐसे मैं मॉल की वो चीज हूँ जहाँ पे प्राइस टैग खुद लगा रहता है, यू कैन नॉट बार्गेन देयर। मैं रोड पे बैठ के तोता लेके नहीं बैठी हूँ, आई रिस्पेक्ट देम। तो वहां तोते को रिस्पेक्ट देनी चाहिए क्योंकि वो आपका प्रेडिक्शन निकाल रहा है। यहाँ पे मेरी पढ़ाई है, आई ट्रस्ट माई सेल्फ, आई बिलीव माई सेल्फ, आई बिलीव माई एजुकेशन। तो मैं उस हिसाब से बता रही हूँ एंड पीपल अप्रिशिएट दैट। उसके बाद टीवी स्टार्स ने मेरा नाम इतना ऊपर उठाया कि उन्होंने अपने क्लाइंट देने शुरू कर दिया और वहां से एक जर्नी स्टार्ट हुआ। स्लोली सब जगह से नाम जा रहा था। साइमल्टेनियसली मैं अपना जो कोर है, जो मेरे दादा से, पापा से सीखा था, पब्लिक से कनेक्ट होना, सोशली कनेक्ट होना, सोशल हेल्प करना, वो भी साइमल्टेनियसली चल ही रहा था। पर जब एक दिन मुझे सपना भावनानी का कॉल आया और उसने और मुझे स्नेहा आपसे बात करनी थी, तो मैंने बोला हाँ जी। तो बोला ऐसे निर्भया करके एक प्ले होने वाला है, तब तक नाम भी नहीं हुआ था, जो निर्भया रेप हुआ था दिल्ली का 2012 का। तो उसके ऊपर प्ले है और उसमें रियल लाइफ एक्ट्रेस चाहिए होंगी जिनकी खुद की एक स्टोरी हो। एंड आई थिंक योर स्टोरी इज ब्यूटीफुल बिकॉज यू प्रेजेंट योरसेल्फ ब्यूटीफुली, यू मूव ब्यूटीफुली। तुमने कहीं अपने आप को हार नहीं माना है। आई लाइक हर वर्ड्स, द वे शी स्पीक टू मी। और मैंने उसको बोला ऑफकोर्स मैं करना चाहूंगी। और फिर मेरा इंटरव्यू किया गया ऑनलाइन। वहाँ जब वो याल फार्बर नाम के हमारे डायरेक्टर थे, वो जर्मनी में कहीं थे, उन्होंने हमको स्काइप पे कॉल पे इंटरव्यू किया एंड विद इन 15 मिनट्स ही सेड गर्ल्स यू आर इन, डू यू वांट टू वर्क विद अस। एंड मेरा पहला रिएक्शन था बेट एंड आई जस्ट स्टार्ट डांसिंग बिकॉज मुझे मैं जो काम कर रही थी उस काम के लिए मुझे बहुत बड़े लेवल पर प्लेटफॉर्म मिल रहा था। जो बर्न को लेके बात करती थी, एसिड को लेके बात करती थी, डाउरी को लेके बात करती थी, जो मुद्दे मैं बोलती थी कि अपने आप को कैसे बाहर लाओ, किस तरह से प्रोटेक्शन करो, उस बात को बोलने के लिए, दिखाने के लिए मुझे वर्ल्ड प्लेटफॉर्म मिल रहा था और मैंने वो किया। मैं अकेली पर्सन थी उस प्ले में जो नॉन स्टेज बैकग्राउंड से थी, बाकी सारे एक्ट्रेस आर्टिस्ट थे। और फर्स्टली मुझे बहुत डर था कि मैं किस तरह से कर पाऊंगी, क्या करूंगी। उन्होंने मुझे पूछा भी था, सब जन मेकअप कर रहे थे, हाँ यू नीड मेकअप। आई सेड यू चूज मी बिकॉज ऑफ माय स्कार्स एंड नाउ माय स्कार्स इज ब्यूटीफुल। मेरा अलग आइडेंटिटी है उसकी वजह से। तो मैं कुछ मेकअप नहीं करना चाहती, मैं जैसी हूँ वैसे ही सामने जाना चाहती हूँ। एंड शी अप्रिशिएट द थिंग्स, इट्स वेरी गुड। और उसी तरह से किया और मैं फेस ऑफ न्यूयॉर्क टाइम भी रही थी उस टाइम पे। इतना अच्छा ये रहा कि लोग वी वांट टू मीट दैट, मीडिया स्पेशली बोलता था वी वांट टू मीट दैट बर्न लेडी स्नेहा जवाले। कभी कभी लोग कंफ्यूज होके एसिड विक्टिम स्नेहा जवाले भी बोलते थे, बट दैट इज फाइन कि वो उसका थोड़ा मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग हो जाता था, बात करते थे तो क्लियरिटी आता था। और वहां से जर्नी टर्न बैक कभी रहा नहीं। बस अभी पेंडेमिक सबके लिए थोड़ा बुरा रहा, वैसे मेरे लिए भी रहा पेंडेमिक थोड़ा बुरा। तो इस तरह से जर्नी होता रहा, काम करती रही और आज खुद के लिए सेटिस्फाइड हूँ जो भी हूँ, खुद के लिए हैप्पीनेस है।
मैम
आज
हम फिर से बोल रहे हैं, आप जैसे हो हमारे सबके प्रिय हो। वी लव यू द वे यू आर। और मैम यहाँ पे चैट्स में भी बहुत सारे कमेंट्स आ रहे हैं एंड पॉमी मैम इज बिन रेजिंग हर हैंड। सो हम क्वेश्चंस थोड़ा ले लेते हैं, थोड़ा पूछ लेते हैं सबका एक्सपीरियंस, मतलब व्हाट्स द टॉप इमोशन। मैम प्लीज, पॉमी मैम।
Please forgive the video at the background. My son and my maid are this thing. But Sneha ji, आपका जो ये कहानी है ना सुन के, actually I couldn't stop crying. It brought tears to my eyes. और आप रोए और फिर आपने बोला sorry. Please do not feel sorry. You should not be sorry for crying. You should cry with your heart out. You know, you should cry with tears of joy also. Today, you are an inspiration for all of us. I was reading the chats, and you have actually moved me, you know, ma'am, that I have actually today, on the eve of International Women's Day, thanks to Piramal's Fast that they have organized this, I'm actually taking a vow to, you know, kind of help women who are in distress. Because आपका जो ये story है ना, ये कितना बहुत सारे जगह में है. We are thankful to God कि you got a platform, ma'am, to speak about it, to make people aware about it. But then, you know, ma'am, there are many other women like you who have suffered from domestic violence, suffered at the hands of people whom they have trusted, respected, and loved. And I really feel sorry for those countless women who are out there. And ma'am, lastly, it's an honor to be with you today, sharing this platform with you today. I draw inspiration from your story, and I hope to stay in touch with you. And thank you very much for everything. And to the rest of everyone, Jarjumete ma'am, I will not be able to stay here for your talk because I have to now move to the airport. And but I'll definitely catch up. I'll check this link on YouTube, and I will get your number and stay in touch with you. I wish I could have been here. আৰু ইয়াত যোন যোন আজি আছে আমাৰ ডিষ্ট্ৰিক্টৰ পৰাও সকলো আছে, মই যাব লগা হ'ল কাৰণে সকলোকে ধন্যবাদ দি যাব ওলাইছো. স্নেহা মেমে নিজৰ ইমান ধুনীয়া ষ্টৰী এটা ক'লে, ইয়াৰ পৰা আমি সবে অনুপ্ৰাণিত হ'ব লাগে আৰু we have to ensure that we try to bring equality. हम लोगों के घर में लेडीज है, वाइफ्स है, मदर्स है, सिस्टर्स है, डॉटर्स है. आज यहाँ जितने भी मेल्स हैं, आई विल रिक्वेस्ट ऑल ऑफ यू हाथ जोड़ के कि काइंडली एंश्योर दैट यू गिव देम द लव, द रिस्पेक्ट दैट दे डिजर्व. स्नेहा मैम, आप अच्छे से रहिए. मोर पावर टू यू. Jarjumete मैम, thank you very much. You are here. I'll catch up with you very soon. Thanks to everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Happy Women's Day.
Happy Women's Day. जी
हाँ
जी जी रितिका.
ओवर टू यू कस्तूरिका.
जी
यस. सो और किसी का कुछ भी मतलब वी विल, क्योंकि हमारा टाइम बहुत अभी वो हो रहा है, लाइक वी आर गेटिंग शॉर्ट ऑफ आवर टाइम, सो वी हैव 2 मोर स्पीकर्स. सो हम और एक क्वेश्चन लेंगे, और कोई भी अगर लाइक नो, और यू फॉर द नेक्स्ट लाइक नो अपकमिंग स्पीकर्स, आई वुड लाइक टू से फॉर ऑल द पार्टिसिपेंट्स कि आप लोग ना अपना क्वेश्चन चैट बॉक्स में लिखते जाइए, ठीक है? सो एंड ऑफ द डे वी कैन टेक ऑल द क्वेश्चंस. ओके, सो एनी टॉप इमोशन. यस मैम. Yes,
I have one request for everyone in this platform. Thank you everyone for joining and listening us. Being a burn survivor और acid survivor के लिए भी मैं हमेशा बात करती हूँ. तो जिस तरह से हम बच्चे एजुकेशन के लिए अडॉप्ट करते हैं, I have a request कि अगर बर्न सर्वाइवर्स और एसिड विक्टिम्स के लिए अगर आप थोड़ा कंट्रीब्यूशन करना चाहते हो, तो उनके फेस वैल्यूज जो गए हैं उनको वापस लाने के लिए हेल्प कर सकते हैं. अभी एक परमानेंट मेकअप का सोल्यूशन आया है जो बिना सर्जरीज के आप मेकअप फेस पे कर सकते हो, और वो 3 साल 5 साल तक रहता है. और छोटी छोटी बच्चियां होती है 18 19 20 साल की, जिनका लाइफ थोड़ा सा डिस्टर्ब हो जाता है फेस वैल्यू ना होने की वजह से. नॉर्मली भी एक पिंपल आता है तो हम उसको कवर करते हैं, मेकअप करते हैं, तो इतने बड़े स्कार्स के साथ उनमें अभी तक कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं आया है. अगर ऐसा कोई करना चाहता है किसी भी बर्न और एसिड विक्टिम्स के लिए, तो ये उनके लिए एक लाइफ सेट होने वाली बात होगी, और उनके लिए एक बहुत बड़ी हेल्प होगी कि उनको हम परमानेंट मेकअप दे पाए विदाउट सर्जरी.
श्योर मैम, थैंक यू सो मच. थैंक यू सो मच. आपका जैसे पॉमिन मैम ने भी बोला है, वी आर रियली मूव्ड, वी आर रियली लाइक नो इंस्पायर्ड, एंड मोर पावर टू यू मैम, एंड वी विश टू बी इन टच विथ यू ऑलवेज. एंड thank you so much for your time. Thank you very much.
या मैं अभी सबकी रजा ले सकती हूँ बिकॉज मेरा ऑलरेडी 12:30 का अपॉइंटमेंट था एंड आई एम लिटिल लेट, सो आई एम रियली सॉरी कि मैं आगे नहीं कंटिन्यू कर पा रही हूँ.
बट मैं भी लिंक जरूर चेक करूंगी और मैं आप तक रिप्लाई भेजूंगी.
Thank you.
थैंक यू. थैंक यू. हैप्पी वुमेन्स डे एवरीवन.
Happy Women's Day to you too, ma'am. Thank you.
थैंक यू.
So,
बाय बाय.
Thank you. Abhi, like no, moving ahead. Firstly, I would like to tell all our participants that this event is being streamed live in YouTube. Anybody who have missed out any part of it can obviously go back and check the YouTube channel and YouTube link. So now moving towards the next speaker, our most honorable Jarjum Ite ma'am. To brief about herself, she is a social activist turned politician who has worked for the development of women in Arunachal Pradesh for over 3 decades. She has challenged patriarchy in the state by openly condemning child marriage, polygamy, and women not having equal inheritance and other rights. She has been as a role model to many young adults in the state. She has also worked towards people's rights in the past and held many other leading positions. For more than 3 decades, Jajam ma'am has been advocating women's and child's right, a safe environment, and the rights of tribals to the natural resources. Ma'am, over to you now. Welcome you to our today's webinar, and we are really glad to have you here in today's event. Ma'am, over to you. Thank you. Ma'am, you were on mute, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Now it's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone, and greetings of the International Women's Day. Happy to listen to Pomi and Snehaji, and quite inspired by Pomi's talk. It's absolutely heartwarming to listen to a young administrator speak up and speak up for women. And Snehaji's story about her life's struggles, especially as a victim of domestic violence, and how she has emerged stronger through her turmoils, personal struggles. It's very inspiring. And actually, when I got the invite through Raghavendra, I was asking him, like, Piramal, you mean Swati Piramal's group? And he said yes. So my greetings through Piramal Swastya to Swatiji. I had the opportunity to meet her very briefly way back in 2000. It was a wonderful brief meeting in Kolaba, Mumbai. We had it was kind of a very short interaction with the then US President Bill Clinton, and we are 4 women, Swati Piramal, Sanjana Kapoor, Mirai Chatterjee of Seva, and myself, all the way from Arunachal, far northeast. And today also, I don't know, I think your program is being live streamed, and maybe friends from other parts of the country in your network and your friends and family also might be viewing it. So greetings to everyone on this special IWD event. The topic that I have been given is women's empowerment, reality or myth. Now, I think more than one particular person talking about it, it gives all of us the opportunity to actually kind of see our own life stories as individuals, look around ourselves, look at the lives of women all around us, and decide if it is a reality or still a myth. But yes, as a tribal woman from Arunachal, where patriarchy still rules the roost, and our systems, our social structures, our family structures are still being decided by the men folk. We have come a long way. We have come a long, long way. Wherever we are today, we have seen the changes. So to a large extent, the process of women's empowerment has been effective. Otherwise, my generation of women accessing the internet or using IT for communication with the larger world would not have been possible or imaginable. We had the benefit of modern education thanks to the government of India's education policy, and thanks to the UN initiatives which mandated most countries, the signatories of development policies, for promising to bring up the women folk in their respective countries. Now, if I have to share my thoughts, which actually is not about data or about researches, but about my own observations as a person, a concerned person in this remote state of Arunachal, though it's not as remote as it used to be. Technically, we are just a click away from wherever in the world. So one thing that I wanted to share was about last year's experience in Arunachal. Friends may need to know that I was the first chairperson of the State Commission for Women in Arunachal. And prior to the establishment of the commission, my parent organization, Arunachal Pradesh Women's Welfare Society, is a pioneer tribal women's body in the state, and a network of around 40 district level and block level bodies of women's rights, women's welfare concerns. We have been always concerned about the economic status of women and their basically lack of economic independence of women as owners of landed properties, or with the resources, credibility to access facilities from the banks and all. So all these have been our concerns, and the Women's Commission was established in 2005 in Arunachal Pradesh. And since then, various subsequent successive bodies, teams had been working on it. And last year, under the leadership of the immediate past chairperson, Advocate Radhilu Chai, the Arunachal State Commission for Women had drafted a bill for inheritance of women, inheritance rights of women, property inheritance rights of women in Arunachal, and it was not well received. We realized that the role or the identity or the status of women is very intrinsically tied down with the aspirations of her tribe or her collective. So it's interesting that her own decision is also not again included in the larger collective. So there are lots of spaces where the empowerment process actually has not been total. Of course, it will take many more decades, it seems, especially with the younger generation of tribal Arunachalis taking time to kind of endorse or empathize with the aspirations individual aspirations of Arunachali women. And it's very interesting, like, Pomi was mentioning about how we are socialized to kind of follow the norms of the society. And by the time we realize that we also need, individual, individually we need accesses to resources or to decision-making spaces. Many often it's quite late in life. So I feel if women's empowerment is still a myth in Arunachal or in other parts of the country, it would be because as parents, we are probably sending our kids to school for education, but that education is not exactly empowering. It may be giving them a certification, of a matriculate or a graduate, postgraduate or doctorate, whatever, but it is perhaps not sensitizing them as individuals to kind of regard themselves as equal citizens or equal beings at par with all her, counterparts in the human society. And at the regional level also, the kind of values that we tag to the efforts of women, especially I would like to recollect the almost, I think, 16 years of struggle, fasting that Irom Sharmila Chanu of Manipur had embarked on in her demand for the repeal of Armed Forces Special Powers Act from Manipur. In 16 years, she was idolized. She was put upon a pedestal by human rights activists and movements and organizations. And the moment she decides to take a call and get married, like, she was almost disowned. Her sacrifice of 16 years came to almost naught. So much so that when she contested election on the platform of her demand for repeal of APSPA, people, they I think didn't vote her well. I think it was less than 100 votes she had polled. So that was kind of, as an individual human rights activist, when she was fasting, she was so empowered. But the moment she gets into the political space, contests the election on that, APSPA issue, and people didn't support her. So that was kind of, very disconcerting. But again, economically speaking, we have lots of women who are now engaged in the non-traditional production processes, and they're into trading, they're into small enterprises, and we have in Northeast, we have, especially in Guwahati, Assam, we have Janabi Phukan, who's one of our icons, economically doing very well, and she has now launched a steamer from Guwahati to Bangladesh on the Brahmaputra River. And those are the kind of things women are involved in. And like, it's even reading about them, the successes of other women folk, and listening about how they are successfully conducting themselves as entrepreneurs. And so these are very empowering, and it's wonderful to see young women getting into the kind of charted terrains, maybe moving out of the states of the region to other parts of the country or abroad to pursue their dream a profession where the the respects are more or the pays are higher. So breaking the barriers our girls are going whole way out, and it's when you hear those kind of news or read about them and about the last Olympic medals, and recently also when Russia was uh, kind of waging their war against Ukraine. In Russia itself, some 4 or 5 girls from Arunachal, they were raking in gold medals and silver medals in self-defense games. And that way, I think lots of opportunities have come, which the girls have grabbed and made good use of and proven themselves, proven their mettle. Having said that, again, we also have stories like Snehaji mentioned, shared with us, and we had lots of cases where we still have those feudalistic, minded men folk who kind of pounce on helpless young girls, maybe because they are kind of placed higher in the society uh, by the norms, by religion, and maybe by their economic status. So there are disparities, there are times, and many often we get to know about them, how girls are kind of dissuaded by families from getting into a competition, or maybe the state has not yet opened up the opportunities for them, like in Arunachal, uh, for the effective implementation of PWDVA or the POXO and all those, we need many lady police officers not below the rank of DYSPs. But we are given to understand that recruitment of women as DYSPs in Arunachal is not happening because there's a certain height, requisite height, and the state has not yet reduced that. So maybe because the girls are not pressing for it, or maybe because we are not politically powerful enough to convince our government to do that. And those are the kind of things where, on the one hand, state is sponsoring for lots of celebrations and conferences on women's issues and all, and integration of their concerns into the state policy or legislation of women-related policies for empowerment, there is still quite a gap. And we have seen that traditionally in Arunachal, like many other tribes of the Northeast, women's role as decision makers is again not traditionally encouraged, and many powerful people and organizations, they are trying to help hold on to those traditions and belief systems or socio-cultural mores, and trying to keep women out of those opportunities, keep them out of the decision-making, political or public life and processes. Like we have in Nagaland, the Naga women have been fighting. They had even gone to the Supreme Court for implementation of the 1/3 reservation under the 74th Constitutional Amendment Act for the civic body elections in Nagaland. And even now, I think they're still waiting for those to be allowed. And in Arunachal, despite Arunachali societies being quite patriarchal, we got the 73rd and 74th, amendments implemented here, and we have 2 municipal bodies in Itanagar and Pasigar, and they have women's reservation. We have many women in the panchayats, within the reserve seats and beyond that also. And those kind of things are happening. But again, it's for all of us to see and experience and observe how many women leaders actually are, politically not just there, but being, active decision makers. So these kind of assessments, analysis, we as social beings, we have as women, for fellow women, we also need to understand, and especially about this political space. Way back in 1995, when we had the 4th UN World Conference on Women in Beijing, Government of India had then promised to legislate a policy whereby 1/3 seats should be reserved in the assemblies and the parliament on the lines of 73rd and 74th Amendment for the panchayats and the municipalities. But since 1995, and it's been so many years, almost 3 decades or so, and Government of India is yet to even table that bill. So promises are there, opportunities, scopes are there, but effectively no one is actually taking up women's empowerment seriously. They talk about gender policies, or they talk about gender budgeting, but it's more like the women component things. Gender budgeting is not being seriously taken up in the states. So there are lots of things which we still need to, I think, understand better and implement them, and also kind of analyze, or we need to somehow assimilate the values that are supposed to come to every single women as individuals, benefit them or empower them. And empowerment, when you talk about empowerment, it's not about giving the opportunity to the women, but it's also for the policymakers, the planners, the decision makers, to ensure that every woman gets those opportunities, but not giving them. In many cases, we get to hear them, "अरे हमने तो दे दिया, हम लेने देने की बात नहीं कर रहे." We are talking about our rightful excesses, So the nuances of gender or understanding gender, ये जब तक हमारे पॉलिसी मेकर्स और जो प्लानर्स है, जो ब्यूरोक्रेसी है, उनके दिमाग में जब तक they continue to think कि हमने तो दे दिया, इन्होंने कुछ नहीं किया, ये शायद जब तक ये एटीट्यूड रहेगा या उनका इस किस्म का मेंटेलिटी रहेगा, तो एम्पावरमेंट का जो हमारा ये है वो मिथ ही बना रहेगा। रियलिटी के लिए इट्स वेरी गुड टू सी दैट आपके ये प्लेटफॉर्म में सुबह 144 के करीब थे, अभी सिर्फ 98 रहे हैं। आई होप एटलीस्ट 50% ऑफ देम आर मेन फॉर, बिकॉज इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर वीमेन टू बी एम्पावर्ड, बट जो प्रोसेस है एम्पावरमेंट का वीमेन के लिए, उसमें men folk have to understand much better. Abhi Pomi was mentioning about how her good husband, it had to be during the pandemic that a good man gets to realize कि नहीं, बच्चे का rearing में उनका भी responsibility है. So every single woman, we have to teach our husbands, we have to teach our brothers, our, our maybe men friends, our children, or everyone around us, women folk also. So, empowerment is not something कि किसी ने कोई certificate दे दिया तो हो गया, नहीं. I still kind of keep joking with my women friends also. हम जब ठेला लेके मार्केट से 10-10 किलो दोनों हाथ में सब्जी उठा के लेके जाते हैं, no one even comes forward to say चलो एक ठेला मुझे दे दो, कोई नहीं बोलता. But whenever my husband goes out and buys me 2 kilos of आलू या प्याज, even my girlfriends, women friends call up and say, अरे सर को आज देखा था वो बेचारा सब्जी खरीद रहा था. Come on, yeah, it's not बेचारा. We have to, it's not like कि हमसे आप एक्सपेक्ट करो कि घर आया तो पानी पिलाएंगे, चाय पिलाएंगे, नहीं. When my friends come, my husband should also be able to do that. Of course, उनकी उम्र में उठना बैठना तकलीफ है, but एक ऑफर, चलो आप पानी पियेंगे, इतना भी पूछ लिया तो भी अच्छा लगता है. And those are the kind of spaces we have to give each other. Then only I think it will absolutely become a reality. Good thing is, whenever I look at Facebook pages or walls of young friends, both men and women, they put up lots of kind of good happy family pictures, जहाँ पे the father is holding the baby or bottle feeding the baby या कुछ खिला रहा है, and that becomes all of us go gaga over like an acha good father. So times are changing and it's good, and those are the kind of things that need to be continued, and then only perhaps gender equality or women's empowerment would be in totality. But I personally see lots of changes, but much more still remains to be desired and achieved. So ये कहना कि कुछ नहीं हुआ वो भी गलत है, बहुत कुछ. इनफैक्ट हमारे अरुणाचल में तो लास्ट 30-35 years में काफी चेंजेस देखा है एंड वेरी प्रोग्रेसिव. बस वही था कि लास्ट 2021 में जब अरुणाचल प्रदेश स्टेट कमीशन फॉर वुमेन ने ये जो इनहेरिटेंस राइट्स के लिए, वुमेन्स इनहेरिटेंस राइट्स के लिए जो ड्राफ्ट बिल गवर्नमेंट को सबमिट किया था, तो उसको लेके इतना प्रोटेस्ट जो देखा, तब लगा कि नो, थिंग्स आर नॉट चेंजिंग the way we actually would like to see. Like the kind of propaganda many organizations and many individuals use, and the leaders of the bill, draft bill, the kind of defamation people embarked on and used against them. तो वो सब देख के लगा कि नहीं, अरुणाचल भी हम लोग जितना मतलब empowered women देखना चाहते हैं वो आसानी से होने वाला नहीं है. So both reality and myth, I think we are the two parallel lines of the railway track that have reached Itanagar from Delhi. तो parliament से हमारे घरों तक आने में it's going to take time. Thank you so much, Piramal Swast, and please convey my warm regards to Swati ji if anyone has access to her. I haven't been in touch. Thank you very much, and congratulations to all of us. Happy Women's Day. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you so much, Jajal ma'am. It was really nice hearing from you, your first-hand experiences. You told us about how women has to fight for their own liberties, and some of these archaic norms and rules in the society always limits women. We have a couple of questions in the chat box, and because we are running out of time, I'll quickly, like, summarize all the questions that have been put together. So there are questions from young development professionals on the field who work with Piramal Swasthya. They're talking about the policy sphere, like the policy decision making sphere, and how, like, the voices of women can be, like, brought to the forefront in the policy sphere. Then there is a question about financial empowerment of women, like, how do we ensure it through our policies, and as development professionals, what could be our contribution to it? And there is also a question that speaks of, how do we know that the women we have put in that circle of policy decision making is the right person, and she's going to speak for women's right? So how do we build that confidence among ourselves? So these are some of the questions I have. These are long questions, but I have summarized it for you. If you could quickly address it. Thank you.
Ma'am, you are on mute, ma'am.
Yeah, thanks for the questions. I'm not an expert on development, but yes, I was once upon a time as a young woman, I was self-employed, and over the last 4 decades, have been watching people, like, economically, socially, culturally, politically, everything. I've been an observer. When it comes to women leaders, it's not just women leaders, any kind of leader. People who have proven their integrity, commitment, we get to know that. And this morning, I was sharing a story about a Russian Russian Jew who goes to Israel, and at the airport, he was carrying a statue of Lenin, a gold statue of Lenin. And when the people asked him, "Why are you taking this?" he said, "Arey, the Lenin was our leader, like, so since I'm going to Israel, leaving Russia for good, I want to keep him as my, as a reminder." And at Israel, when he lands at Tel Aviv, the people there, like, the what do you call them? They check him and they say, "Why have you brought this?" And he says, "This Lenin, he was like, the man who made hell of our life. So I want to keep him and think of how bad he was." And so he's allowed. And then when he reaches home, his families, they ask him, "Why did you bring Lenin of all the people?" He said, "Well, it is not Lenin, but 5 kilos of gold that I brought from Russia." And that is the kind of politicians we have, the glib talkers, so we get carried away by people who sell their dreams, and not the ones who are capable of, committed to making our dreams come true. And so it is for us to be discerning voters or discerning team who can choose the best person as our leader. So it's not just women leaders, but also male leaders. And the second question was about economic development, right, Jurismita?
Yes, ma'am. It was about financial power, like how do we ensure that women are getting the financial power in the financial decision making?
Yeah. So in finances, it will depend on how we train them, because so far, in our society out here in Arunachal, most communities, women were actually treated as part of the men's property. So it has come a long way. Today, women are earning salaries. They're having salaried jobs. They're earning from small trades and from agriculture, vending, and all those. So, and the self-help group activities of the government, they have helped a lot. And today, again, the Rural Livelihood Mission program of the government in our state is also quite helpful. So women are getting to learn about the importance of earning and also saving. And in this case, one problem in Arunachal is we don't have the kind of collateral security that can give us more resources. So that only is a major obstacle, the hindrance. Otherwise, if we had access to land, which could be mortgaged or which could be sold, or whatever, like, women's ownership of landed property is not there. Now, of course, interesting scenario is many rich men, may be politicians or bureaucrats or technocrats and business people, businessmen, they have more than one wife. So many of the second or third females who get kind of hitched onto such a much married man, they are getting lots of properties, bank balances or cars and buildings and businesses, enough money to set up businesses. And there are cases where someone is in a relation and then the wife gets to know, and then to get separated, get out of such commitments, the second or third female would be kind of squeezing, fleecing the man. So that way many women also get rich overnight, whereas many are struggling. My point is, resource wise, earning by the sweat of the brow is something which has to be kind of ingrained when our girls are growing up. So education, school education or college education should also be made much more practical. It's not just about seeking a job, but also getting skilled or learning some skills which can get them some cash in return for their job. So opportunities are there. There are lots of skill development centers being sponsored by government, but I am not sure if the people who have gone through the trainings are actually skilled, and if they are getting the kind of work they have trained for. So opportunities are there, but I think everything need to be synchronized, coordinated, and people have to interface a lot. And I didn't know that Piramal Swasthya Group was into economic development activities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Yes, Kasturika, please.
Jurismita, I was just saying thank you to ma'am for taking us through each of these questions and explaining so perfectly the answers. I hope this addresses the questions that our participants had. And now I would request you to introduce our next speaker. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you very much, ma'am. So moving ahead, firstly, would like to tell you all that we actually wanted all our speakers to be with us today. So we are organizing this webinar from our Guwahati office. It's in Northeast, and Northeast Guwahati is the head office for. And here we're really looking forward to have all the speakers with us today, so that we can be with them, share the same table, and speak about their experiences and everything. But unfortunately, as all of them could not come here Just Neha ma'am had, she's like, no, she's from Mumbai and it's impossible for her to travel here right at this moment. So we couldn't have her in this office today. And like Pommy ma'am was traveling. But fortunately, very fortunately, we are having our last but not the least, most inspiring, one of the most inspiring lady, Janae Goswami ma'am. I think like, no, we all know her. And yes, before going ahead, I would like to give a short what to say, I can't say it introduction, but something about her. Like the most daring lady who stood as the first woman in the Northeast to declare her HIV status, diagnosed with HIV at 18, age of 18, and given only 3 months to live. The change maker continues to raise awareness about the disease. In 1993, Janavi Goswami ma'am have contracted HIV from her husband. She was told she had only 3 months to live. But fortunately, 29 years later, she is going stronger than ever, spreading awareness on HIV/AIDS in India. Welcome you, ma'am. But before hearing from you, I would like to request Priyakshi ma'am to kindly felicitate Janavi ma'am as she is with us today. So yes, ma'am, this is for you. And I would like everybody to unmute yourself and clap once for the most inspiring lady, lady not only of Northeast, but of the country. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for like sparing आप इतना time निकाल के इतने busy schedule होने के बाद भी आपने time निकाल के हमारे पास आज like no, you are physically present. Thank you so much, ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
First of all, I want to thank each and everyone who invited me in here, and especially in Piramal Health, and for those women in here. I want to congratulate, because being as a woman, it's a challenge. We overcome the long way to till here, till today, being as a woman. And especially I want to salute Sneha Madam जी, क्योंकि आपने जो भी आपका स्टोरी बताई मुझे, ये really it's painful to accept. And Jurmita ma'ams, it's a really nice talk about the Arunachal, because I know Arunachal. I visited many times in Arunachal, and definitely in Pommy ma'am, because Pommy ma'am is not here, and entire team who is organizing here. I'm Janavi, as Jyotismita ma'am has told me, like I worked for HIV for last 2 decades now, because I'm HIV positive. It's not because of HIV positive. I feel that I want to do something for the society, and I want to contribute. From my childhood, I have a dream. I want to work as an advocate, because I like the dress, actually, that white dress with black coats. And from my childhood, I have a dream that I could able to support like women, because I have seen my neighbors and others who was beaten by the husbands, actually. And from a childhood, I want to become a lawyer. But unfortunately, the dream has changed due to my HIV, because I was married, as Jyotismita ma'am has told me. Like I was married in the age of 18, and just after that, my marriage life, I got to know that my husband is found to be HIV. At that time, in 93, there is no more HIV. There is a called AIDS. तभी से लेके आज तक मैं जूझ रही हूँ, not only for my life, all for the society. क्योंकि जब स्नेहा ने भी बताया था जो इन-लॉज का ये कितने सारे उसको सहना पड़ा, और same thing in my life also. When I got to know that my husband was positive, and he was not going to be for more days his life, and doctors refused him to treatment, because in 90s there is no HIV treatment in Assam. And in India also, whatever the treatment is available, it's much more costlier than now. Almost you have to spend like 2 lakhs rupees for the medicines, but like the middle class family, it is not possible to spend those kind of medicines for them. And unfortunately, when I got to know that he was HIV from the doctors, and doctors told me in the night, around the midnight, like doctors told me like he having AIDS, and at that time, I am like, I was so unaware about the HIVs, even not for me, I think many people. Or मुझे लगा, okay, HIV is not treated in Assam or India. I can go to beyond India because my 2 aunties is staying in London. So I feel I took him in London, and there's a treatment he can survive his life. But I was so stupid at that time. I don't know that going for this beyond the country, it's required visa or passport. That is not in my mind. And when doctors has informed me, and I came back from the doctors because doctors only says that he had AIDS, and I came back to my in front of my husband. I asked him, the doctors ne bataya aapko HIV hai, and he was like, simply he says, yes, I knew that. I knew I have HIV, and this virus is going to be affect you also. At that time also, I not feel that how that one disease is coming to, it is not TB. I thought it is because I know from the childhood TB is spreading, because in my village also I have seen, if someone is infected with TB, they're separated, they given the space in the backside of the house in separately. Then I thought like, okay, it is HIV, and I got to know that how is it spread. Then immediately I decided, like, I'm not going to be the part of your family, not a part of the family, but I simply say, I don't want to be wife of yours, because I belongs to Brahmin family in Assam, and the Brahmin families are quite hypocritic. आपको यदि रुकना है विधवा बन के, you have to be avoid all the non-veg. That onions and garlic you have to avoid, and you cannot wear those colorful saris, you cannot put your bindis and all those things. But at the moment, I decided I cannot to be wife for a long time. Whatever you are here, I can be wife, because he see me, he knew that he had HIV. And from my in-laws house also, they started blaming me. Like, no, I am collectiony, like, no, that's a word. I'm Lakshmi nahi hai, ab main collection nahi hu, main kuch hu. तो उन लोगों ने सारे ब्लेम जो है ना मेरे ऊपर देना शुरू किया. And it is very difficult for me to survive in there, at least for the month also. They're not tolerate. They every time is blaming me, not in me. Like, no, even they started talking about my character also. They say because of my character, I was infected in before, and that's why his son become HIV positive and he is about to die. This type of blaming game is started, and I was quite upset. And he was died in month of April, and at that day, almost like 26 years before. And just after he died, And I have a 3-month-old child with me in custody. Hannah is custody. And at the day of 15, after he died, they thrown out me from my house. Just only one thing isn't there. I was young. I was beautiful at that time. I'm going to affect, my character is loose. That's why his son has died. They don't want to be me in that house. That is the reason they thrown me with the 15, after the 15 days of my husband died. And just after coming back, because I was in class 10 when I got married. And I came back with my child. She was 3 months old almost. And I stayed at my parents' house. And during that time, when I visited the first time in the doctors gave me only the 3 months times. The first 3 months, just I am counting, just counting and counting and counting. And when the 91 days, I saw the windows and all those things, I found a different world. The sun is really rising. And again, I started counting my another days. It's gone to 6 months almost, but I never died. But during that time, I lost almost my memories, and I was quite upset. I'm mentally sick because every day people started counting when I'm going to die. It is very painful. And I'm very much lucky that I got the support from my sisters, from my parents, from my mom especially, because I don't have my papa. He's died when I was in class 7. And my entire family, my entire villagers, my friends, all have supported me. They accepted me as HIV positive because during that time there is no social media or no electronic other TV rather introductions. Only the print media is available, and my family belongs to a political family. What they did it when the report has comes, automatically without taking my permissions, they published in the newspaper. So they are not putting my name, they are not putting anything, but they put my entire family history. The people will automatically know that someone is HIV positive in that family particularly. So the slowly the media people will got to know about my HIV status, and my family is like my school friends and everyone is knew that I was infected in that time. But thankfully, my sisters and my mothers, my neighborhoods, they supported me a lot for this journey, where today I'm here in front of you all. And this 28 years of journey is really tough for me. The first, I don't want to see any more Jahnavi. That's my word. Not my word, my mom's word. But when I was infected in 93 until today, almost like 7,000 people are, not only women, especially not people, only the women got infected. And during my journey, I was in the first woman from the Northeast who was infected with HIV. And during the journey, almost in Northeast, almost like 25,000 women living with HIV as of now. It's a long journey, but there's a very hurtful. But during this my work, I have seen that many women not only getting the HIV, because being as a woman in the rural area, it's a one kind of punishment. You were not getting any educations in the villages. You are less important in the family. you are not getting any property rights from the parental house, even the in-laws house also. And all those things there, and you have to add one more thing, you are living with HIV. I have met almost like in Assam, we have 5,000 women living with HIV. I have met each and everyone who was living with HIV. I met everyone. So I've seen the most of the women not gets any single right of property. And 80% of women, just after husband died, they're thrown out because they feel they feel that if she is going to be continue with this house, that the in-laws house, they will claim property. And also, if she is alone, she may affect other people also. Every time his in-laws is blaming her daughter-in-law about his son died, like how they died, but nobody has think about that. Women's only infected after that some man is going to give it the virus. And it's really challenges, and till today there is a HIV bill also. But during this HIV bill is implemented in 2017, but till today there is a lot of stigma. Not only the property rights, even the treatment also. Even for the treatment, I have seen the many women who was not taking the HIV medications only because of she don't have money. Because we are not financially strong also. And whenever we ask why we are not taking medicine on time, she says, "Oh, madam, हमारे पास पैसा नहीं है. मेरे पास पैसा नहीं है, मैं खाऊं या बच्चे को खाए, बच्चे जिंदा रहे तो ज्यादा अच्छा रहेगा." ये सब मुझे सुनना पड़ता था. But somehow in Assam, almost like 10,000 plus people and more than 4,000 plus people, like women, is taking HIV medications. But during this journey, I have met a lot of people because a lot of stigma, not only stigma in the household family or within the friends or within the community, but there is a stigma in hospital setup also. Till today, the hospital authority, or if anyone wants to have baby or wants to have operations, always doctor denied it. Always doctor deny. Go for this test, go for this test. Your CD4 count is less, then we are not going to do it. Your CD4 count need to be increased more than 500, then we'll do the operations. And these are the things the women are facing is lot, because the women is not get the proper nutritious food at the home. For that reasons, the women unable to take care of their health because there's a less priority to getting the good food at the home. Even she is not financially so strong, most of the women, we are basically dependent with the family members. And due to the educations, we lost job, that most of the good jobs is getting by men only, but not women, because women need to take care the household works, the children's, then the society responsible. If the woman is going openly in front of the society, then people think like, okay, she is gaya to gaya, abhi kaam karne ke liye gaya to gaya, abhi वापस नहीं आएगी. But they never think about the women who face a lot of stigma in the society. They need to be empowered. And during my HIV journey, I took my medication. It's a different thing. I'll go on it separately. But during this thing, like my journey, I started the one organizations. It's called Assam Network of Positive People. These organizations basically supported the women living with HIV who was denied for the treatment, denied for the family rights, denied for the property rights, and not having any skills to start their own businesses. From our organizations, we supported more than 350 women as of now with the 3 lakhs rupees who can start their own businesses. And we also given that support to start their own business, some skill building training to linkages with the different departments. So these are the things we are doing it, but living with HIV and discussed openly about the status, it's really, really difficult because when I started talking about my journey in front of others, I'm not getting any problem in my villages where I am belongs to. But when I come back to Guwahati to start my work and wants to be independent woman, at that time, the many of them refused to give me the rented house. In a 1 month, I just changes like 13 house in a 1 month. It is really, really difficult for me because stigma is quite high in society, and still people feel that we are not going to, because it's not happening with me. जब घर पे किसी को नहीं होता ना तो कोई बात नहीं करते इसके बारे में, क्योंकि HIV is a part of your character. If someone is HIV positive, he or she may to go to like multiple sex partner or need to use the drugs with the one syringe. That's true because of the 2 reasons. That now we can prevent our newborn child because there's a lot of technology, a lot of medicine has come. In the blood bank, we are not going to get any HIV infections blood in my body. But the 2 things, like one is the multiple sex partners, one is injecting drugs, drugs with the one syringe with the multiple partners. These are the things is creating like lot of stigma in society, especially for the HIV. And for me, I think I'm quite bold enough to talk about the HIV status. And because of my parents, because of my family, because of my sisters, today I'm here. But during this journey, I feel that it is really, really, really difficult for women to open up their status, because still no one accepted about HIV. I have come across in the last month one cases. She was HIV positive, and somehow the neighbors and villagers got to know that she's infected with HIV, and they're thrown out from the village. It's near to Guwahati only. So she's not getting any kind of property rights. They're not getting any support from her parents, her in-laws, the brothers and sisters. There's no one is helping. She was staying with us for last 5-7 days, like with our organizations, because we have a orphan children home where most of the children is living with HIV. And this organization belongs to Assam Network of Positive People. But personally, if you say like what Janvi today, I feel I am strong. I am bold enough. I can fight for my rights. But I want the other women who's living with HIV, they should also come out. Not only HIV, the women should speak out. because we are never feel we need to fight for our rights. If the 29 years ago, I was not talk about this issue, I was not accepted this issue, my family is not accepted my HIV status, I may not be today here. I could die because I attempted suicide many times. Many times. It is today I'm here because of your love and your support and extreme support from my mom and my sisters. But it is really, really difficult. I knew that, I accepted that also, but we need to overcome all those situations. That 3 month journey and 29 years of long journey, it's quite different. I want to see all women should be like Sneha ma'am. All women should be like Chura ma'am, like from Arunachal. All women like Homi ma'am, who's openly talk about these issues openly, and she's bold enough to talk with her husbands and all. So everyone's need to be strong enough, and we should not think about the gender inequalities, because many, one sec, okay. I have seen in the home also that many have also talked about men can do, boys can do, girls cannot do. Why it is? If I can do, then my brother can also do the same thing. And I'm today here all because of you. I am saying again and again. 29 years of journey with HIV medications. I'm quite healthy. I do my work more than 12 hours in a day. And I travel a lot. I do counseling. I meet the women who's living with HIV. I helped especially the orphan children and also the single parent children. And we try to motivate people to overcome this situation, because HIV itself is one kind of stigmatized disease. And this disease need to be take medications for a long time, for the lifelong. But there's a lot of side effect also. If you are bold enough, if you know about that medications, you could be healthy like me. So thank you, Piramal Health, for inviting me. If I missed anything, I don't go details from my life history because it is not time, but I want to thank each and every woman who overcomes and who comes here, like the long journey as a strong enough, and salute to you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Janavi ma'am. It was really, really very inspiring to hear from you. You narrated your story, like your first-hand narration of your story, and it's so inspiring for so many of us here. And we wish you all the best. And also, the floor is open for any questions directed at Jahnavi ma'am. And you can also type your question, and I can ask her out. Or yeah, please.
কোনোবাই অসমীয়াটো সুধিব পাৰে, মোৰ একো প্ৰবলেমো নাই, কাৰণ মই নিজে অসমীয়া।
কাৰোবাৰ যদি কিবা প্ৰশ্ন আছে মেমৰ কাৰণে সুধিব পাৰে। মেমে সুন্দৰকৈ নিজৰ জীৱনৰ যোনটো নাৰেশন, যি ষ্ট্ৰাগলছ, সেই গোটেই কথাখিনি আমাক ক'লে। মেম, মই এটা প্ৰশ্ন সুধিব পাৰোনে আপোনাক বাৰু?
Definitely.
আচ্ছা মেম, আপুনি I just want to understand, where did you, gather all that strength? Like, how did you, what was the moment when you decided that, I need to, fight this. I need to fight not for myself, but for the community of people who are living with this stigma, and this entire beautiful work that you have weaved out throughout, for this project of positive people. And it's a project of hope, right? So could you just tell us, like, where did you find that strength? How did it come, like, to you that, I should do this?
Thank you for the questions. Actually, when I started first to walk, I walked for my mom because she told me to walk because I was like a machine type, like now it's a doll. So she just put my machines key in the doll. So first of all, I thought, okay, my mom will be happy because I lost my father, my age of 13 or 14, and not even 13, 14, even less than that. So I lost, and during that time, we have a 4th sibling. I'm the eldest one, and my sisters and my 2 brothers. And my mom is facing a lot of problems, like the financially she is dependent to my uncles and others. And when they can again one more chatka for her, I was positive and found to be positive, and she says no, do something for society. I don't want to see many more Jahnavi like you. I don't want to see any more mother. When I come out to walk in this field, I thought, okay, my mom will be happy. My mom will be happy. Whatever I did, it's not from my personal interest. So I walked, my mom will be happy. Then one day and others I attached, and I met so many of women who face the same problems like me. I feel I need to do something. So then we started small group of 5-6 women, and we started walking. But right now we have 7,000 people who was living with HIV with us, and we walked for this. Not only women, right now we are walking for men who have sex with men, that the third gender people who was living with HIV, that women living with HIV, also the injecting drug users. That started with my to see my happy face, my mom, and it's gone for me like my dream now. Anyhow, my dreams in my childhood to become advocates to women, to support women, but till today I'm not taking the black and white coat, but still I am supporting women.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. This is exactly what a woman upholding another woman, a woman inspiring another woman. And this is all about celebrating women, right? So thank you, ma'am, for shedding light. If we do not have any other question, I would like to move ahead to the closing remarks for the session. All right.
Good morning, ma'am.
There's a question. Yes, Samarji.
Ma'am, Janvi madam question to asile ki ma'am amar juntu society women juntu ma'am HIV bilak eta stigma hoy, so tar karone ma'am ki barriers ase juntu kar heikini barriers or karone ami fight kori pele overcome koribo paru heitu ei stigma pora.
So Samarjit Das Dangoria da আচলতে ষ্টিগমাটো দুটা ধৰণৰ ষ্টিগমা থাকে, এটা হৈছে সেলফ ষ্টিগমা আৰু সোসাইটিৰ পৰা যেটো ডিসক্ৰিমিনেশন। সেলফ ষ্টিগমাৰ পৰা হাত সাৰিবলৈ হলে সদায় এটা পিয়াৰ সাপোৰ্ট লাগে। মই যেনেকৈ আমাৰ গ্ৰুপবোৰ আছে, সেই গ্ৰুপখিনিৰ লগত যদি আমি ইজনে সিজনৰ ভাৱ একে মানুহৰ লগত, যেটো পিয়াৰ সাপোৰ্ট বুলি কওঁ, একে মানুহৰ লগত যদি আমি অলপমান আমাৰ প্ৰবলেম শেয়াৰ কৰো, তেতিয়া হলো আমি সেলফ ষ্টিগমাৰ পৰা আমি আঁতৰি আহিব পাৰো। আৰু ডিসক্ৰিমিনেশনৰ কথা যেটো আছে, আমি যেতিয়ালৈকে এৱাৰ নহম, আপোনালোকৰ নিচিনা মানুহ বা সমাজখনৰ যিসকল মুখিয়াল মানুহ বা মিডিয়াৰ সকলে হওক সকলোৱে যদি উলিয়াই আহিম যদি আমাৰ নজনা মানুহখিনিক যদি আমি এৱাৰ কৰিবলৈ লওঁ তেওঁলোকক আমি যদি সজাগতা কৰিবলৈ লওঁ বা তেওঁলোকক যদি সজাগ কৰো তেতিয়াহ'লে সমাজৰ পৰা যিটো ঘৃণা আৰু বৈষম্যৰ ভাৱ আছে সেইটো সম্পূৰ্ণকৈ নোহোৱা হৈ যাব কিন্তু তাৰ উপৰিও যদি আমি মহিলাসকলৰ কথা চাওঁ কিন্তু মহিলাসকলক আমি অকল তেওঁলোকক HIV ষ্টিগমাৰ পৰাই নহয় আমি যি ধৰণে তেওঁলোকে ছ'চিয়েল বেৰিয়াৰ যিখিনি আছে ধৰক কাম কৰিবলৈ নিদিয়া লৰাৰ সমানে পঢ়িবলৈ নিদিয়া কোনো ধৰণৰ টকা ইনকাম কৰিব নিদিয়া এই বস্তুখিনিৰ পৰা যদি আমি আঁতৰাব পাৰি তেওঁলোকক এখন মুক্ত সমাজ আমি দিব পাৰো তেতিয়াহ'লে কোনো ধৰণৰ ষ্টিগমা নাথাকে আৰু যদি কোনোবাই এইখিনিতে মই কওঁ যদি কোনোবাই কোনোবা সামাজিক ঘৃণা বা বৈষম্যৰ যদি তেওঁলোক স্বীকাৰ হৈছে 2017 তাৰমানে 2017 চনত এটা লং জাৰ্নি প্ৰচেছৰ পাছত এখন HIV এন্ট্ৰি ডিস্ক্ৰিমিনেশ্যন এখন আইন বনোৱা গৈছে যিখন আইনৰ দ্বাৰা আপুনি আপোনাৰ লগত হৈ থকা মানসিক বা শাৰীৰিক অত্যাচাৰৰ যদি আপোনালোকে তাৰ পৰা মানে আঁতৰিব পৰিত্ৰাণ কৰিব বিচাৰিছে তেতিয়াহ'লে আইন মতে আপোনালোকে সহায় ল'ব পাৰে আৰু সেই আইনী প্ৰক্ৰিয়াৰ দ্বাৰাও কিন্তু আপোনালোকৰ সহায় হ'ব তাৰ উপৰিও আমাৰ GMC টো এটা চেণ্টাৰ আছে য'ত নেকি আমি কাউন্সেলিং কৰো প্ৰত্যেকখন ডিস্ট্ৰিক্টতে ট্ৰিটমেন্ট আৰু কাউন্সেলিং চেণ্টাৰ আছে নিয়াৰেষ্ট যিখন হস্পিটেল আছে তালৈ গৈ পেলাই তেওঁলোকে পৰামৰ্শদাতাৰ পৰা পৰামৰ্শ ল'ব পাৰে আৰু কিছুমান আমাৰ লিগেল চেলো আছে আমাৰ ডিস্ট্ৰিক্টবোৰত প্ৰত্যেকটো জেগাতে লিগেল এইড চেল আছে এই লিগেল এইড চেলৰ পৰা তেওঁলোকে পৰামৰ্শ ল'ব পাৰে তেওঁলোকৰ সেইখিনিৰ পৰা যিখিনি তেওঁলোকে ঘৃণা বৈষম্যৰ সন্মুখীন হৈছে সেইখিনিৰ পৰা তেওঁলোকে মুক্ত হ'ব কাৰণে কিছু প্ৰক্ৰিয়া তেওঁলোকে জানিব পাৰে কিন্তু তথাপিও হৈছে যে আমাৰ যিবোৰ কাউন্সেলিং চেণ্টাৰ্ছ আছে ICTC চেণ্টাৰ্ছ বুলি কওঁ বা ট্ৰিটমেন্ট চেণ্টাৰ আছে ART চেণ্টাৰ সেইবোৰত গ'লেও কিন্তু তেওঁলোকে যথেষ্টখিনি সুবিধা পায় আৰু সেই সুবিধাখিনি ক'বলৈ তেওঁলোকে এটা প্লেটফৰ্ম পায় তাৰ উপৰি আসাম নেটৱৰ্ক অফ পজিটিভ পিপলত আমি সদায় আছো আমি যিসকল ভুক্তভোগী হৈছে সেই সকলক আমি সদায় পৰামৰ্শ দি আহিছো আৰু সেই হিচাপে আমি আইনী প্ৰক্ৰিয়াৰে তেওঁলোকক সহায় কৰি আহিছো হয় আশা কৰিছো আপোনাৰ প্ৰশ্নটো উত্তৰ মই দিব পাৰিছো
থ্যাংক ইউ মেম
Thank you so much, ma'am. Hosake, bahut bhal lagile khuni pelai apunar guti experience. We are really lucky to have you today here as a speaker as well as physically being present with us. Thank you once again. Now, I think we are already being moved out of time. So now, Kasturika, if you can do the honor of doing the closing remark, please.
Yes, Jurismita, thank you so much. I'll just keep it quick and small because the discussions were very enriching in itself. So thank you. We extend our heartiest thank you to all the esteemed panelists who were present today. And they shed light upon certain very significant aspects of facing odds in society and in life for the mere fact of being a woman. You know, their struggles are lessened in itself. But what I would primarily like to highlight is the remarkable courage that they have shown in the face of these odds, and you know how they have come out of those struggles, they have overpowered those, and they have impacted life of not just one but so many people. So I would extend my thank you to all of them for doing what they're doing and doing it at its best. And you know, this year's theme of Women's Day speaks of breaking the bias, right? So we are talking about breaking the bias, but what is bias? Like, you know, bias exists everywhere. It exists unconsciously, it exists deliberately, it exists in the knowing, it exists in the unknown. It can be in the form of stereotyping, discrimination. It could also be in silence and in inaction. So exactly, inaction. So what these stories today that we have heard from our very, very esteemed panelists talks about action, how they have acted at the face of severe odds and how they have come out victorious. So when Pomi ma'am speaks of, her ordeals as a female administrator, or when Snehaji speaks of her struggles with patriarchal norms in the society and how she finds her passion and how she makes a living out of it, how Jarun ma'am speaks of the various patriarchal norms that hinders women from, enjoying basic liberties of economic life, or when Jahnavi ma'am speaks of the struggles and, that motivated her to work for her community. So this is all about action. And, we all acknowledge that there is bias, but is acknowledging enough? No, it is time for action. And action is something which we are primarily focusing on this Women's Day, because we are talking about acting today so that we have sustainable tomorrow. So I'll not extend this, but I just want to tell you one thing. Let us all switch on our cameras and we all can, strike the International Women Day pose. You can see it displayed on your screen, and let us take the pledge that wherever we can and however, in whatever capacity we can, we will break this bias. So can I request all the 76 participants present here to switch on their cameras and let us take the pledge. Let us cross our hands and pledge that we will break this bias today. Please, everyone, if you can switch on your cameras, and requesting Pankajda to take a snapshot of, the screen, because this is something where we are pledging, right? We do pledge, right, to break the bias. Yes, great. Pankajda, do capture this snap. And thank you, everyone. So Sayukta now can close this discussion today with a vote of thanks. Thank you, everyone. You have been a very, very engaging audience. Thank you.
Sayukta, we can't hear you. I think you are not audible, Sayukta.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, a bit.
So thank you, Kasturika, and thank you so much, everyone, for joining us this morning. It is a pleasure to have been able to connect on this platform, and for what I hope will be a sustained series of events of inspiring, strong, and kind women sharing their incredible and transformative experience for all of us to imbibe, be inspired, and be encouraged by. On behalf of Piramal Swasthya, I extend my gratitude to our honorable guest speakers for taking out time to grace the event. Thank you very much, Madam Pomi Barra. Although Pomi ma'am, Madam Sneha, and Madam Jarjum are not with us, but I'd like to extend my thanks to them. Thank you very much, Madam Pomi Barra, for your stimulating discussion on this year's theme and bringing the need of united, all gender inclusive, proactive focus to build on a sustainable and gender equal world. I also take this opportunity to thank you for your extraordinary contribution in leading Assam's fight against COVID pandemic last year with empathy and intelligence. We are all very lucky to have someone like you in the administration. Madam Sneha, thank you for sharing your transformative journey with us, the journey that you are leading with indescribable courage. Your determination to upskill and move onward and upward is positively energizing. Madam Jarjum, it has been enriching to hear from your rich experience and from your remarkable depth on the pressing issue of women empowerment. We as a society have come far from where it all started, but all of us second here that we still have a long way to go when it comes to women empowerment for an equal society. Uh, Janavi Baidu, madam, you're here with us. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your story of breaking social barriers and for your continued endeavor in putting your heart and soul to support people living with HIV/AIDS. Many thanks to the lovely audience for finding out time of your schedules to join us today. It demonstrates your unwavering commitment to the cause of gender equality. I believe each one of us leaving the webinar today a little enriched in our thoughts and actions. We also look forward to having you again in our next series. And finally, many thanks to the coordinators of the event, Gaurida, Priyakshi Baidu, Pankaj, Jurishmita, for organizing this delightfully wonderful webinar for all of us to participate and hear from amazing boss women marking the celebration of International Women's Day 2022. Have a great day, everyone, and happy International Women's Day 2022. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. We can close now. Once again, lastly, wishing you all a very happy International Women's Day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.